I'm sorry, Lorena.
It's been too damn long weeks. It's also too damn long to be without such lovely ladies to tell you about the latest news in genre entertainment. It's time for the one, the only, the original Toxic Femininity, brought to you by Midnight's Edge. It's 7 o'clock. Do you know where your common sense is?
What's up?
Hey, everybody. Happy New Year.
Happy New
Hey.
Year. We're back.
Mm-hmm.
God, it feels like you've been gone forever.
Almost a year.
I know. Saw you guys last year, right?
Yeah, it was last
Great.
week we saw each other.
It's been a whole
It's been a
year
little
since we've
bit.
seen you.
Mm-hmm.
Well, a few weeks. But anyhow, with us tonight, guest hosting with us is the lovely Ar. How you doing?
I am very well. How is everybody tonight?
Awesome to see you here. And we also have Miss Nina Infinity. How you doing?
Hi, I'm good. I'm tied up. I don't know what's happening.
Well,
there.
that's a good night for
hang
some
on.
people.
Oh God. You look hot.
Thank you.
I just want to let you know. Lorena, as always, you look fucking fabulous. I love your new hair color.
Oh, well, thank you,
and
my
Tom,
dear.
you look. I don't know what you look like. You look the same as
That
always.
came off as really odd, but that's all right. That, of course, was Nina Infinity. And also with us, the hostess with the mostest, last but definitely not least, the lady who produces this show, and I couldn't get anything done without. And as soon as she's gone, everything goes to hell. Miss Lorena Creel.
Hey, everybody. I am so glad to be
Did I read
back
that you
here.
got a promotion of some type?
I did.
Well,
Yes.
congratulations.
Yes. That worked. Thank you. Came back and was like, oh, okay. I guess you guys did pay attention when I asked you.
How dare you
Go to
leave
the
us for
so-and-so,
2 weeks to go on
whatever.
vacation, though, Lorena? God.
I know, like 2 weeks to be at home, where 1 week, no, 10 days, I literally was running a hotel out of my house because my sister and her husband and their 3 kids,
You
I'm
got
thinking
good rates?
3 days. No.
Sorry,
I'm
I
like,
interrupted your story. 3 wives, 3 kids.
You got 3 kids, all at the age of 8. Thought they were going to be here for 3 days. No, they were here for 10.
Ooh.
Wow.
I was running a hotel out of my freaking house.
That is like a movie.
That
right?
is a movie.
They
My
came for the weekend, but they ended up staying.
dude, my brother-in-law rolled up like Cousin Eddie.
They moved
I
right
didn't-
in to your heart.
Don't get attached to it because we're taking it with us when we leave here next month.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that's funny.
That's from moving. That is a deep cut. Like deep cut. That is one of Richard Pryor's later films that most people don't remember.
No.
Oh my God.
But yeah,
We said we
they're
were taking
gone.
it with us. In fact, I got it all on tape.
Yes. So yeah, I'm back with you guys. So glad to be here. There's no way I could have streamed for here at night. Hell no.
Too crazy.
Too crazy, too nutty, too much noise.
Too
No.
fast, too furious.
Yeah, and little like
Too
kid-
hard.
little no, between yogurt, chicken nuggets, and plastic balls from the ball pit being thrown all over the place.
Well, hopefully they weren't plastic yogurt chicken nuggets because those would be nasty.
Oh,
yeah,
gross.
that really is nasty.
And then we got
Seriously
Hillis
though, I
Mallory
missed this
here, though.
show. I'm so glad we're back. Monday night.
Me too.
People.
Yes.
And it looks like
Yeah, show us.
It's looks like
love.
Hillis Mallory missed us as well. If we want to get started on some of these super chats here.
Hey, Hillis Mallory for $2. Thank you so much, my dear. Holla, y'all.
Holla,
Yes,
holla.
holla.
It's good to see you, Hillis.
Hello, Hillis Mallory. Nice to see you here. Welcome, welcome, welcome. And then we have, let's see here. I can get caught up here. We got just some guy.
Hey, just some guy for $4.99 says, "This is my last chat as just some guy. I will now go by just some other guy. No longer will I be mistaken for someone else."
You know, that's probably a good idea.
I think that's a good idea too.
I think
'cause
that's a very good idea.
I thought you were the other guy for the longest time, and then
No
I was
more
like, "Oh wait, that
confusion.
is not the same guy."
Yeah. So we appreciate that. I think that's a great idea.
And
Then,
Wildman
oh,
Beyond.
go ahead. Sorry.
Wildman Beyond for $4.99 super chat. Thank you so much, Wildman Beyond. You ladies are the real 355.
Phew,
I'd
phew.
watch you any day.
It's not
Oh,
that
well,
hard to do
thank
this. Just do what
you.
Kill Bill did. Like, I want to see that movie. There was a movie there I didn't get to see. You know, that's like the end of the story. I want to see those chicks being badass.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
So, and then we have Joker voice.
Oh,
Joker voice for $5. Thank you so much, my dear. Oh my God. Monday is now back in order. The ladies of Toxic Femme, or as I call it, Monday Night are here.
Raw, like Monday Night Raw.
Monday Night Raw,
I
but
got
like,
that.
yeah.
That's clever, Joker's voice.
I like it. I like it, Joker voice.
Mhm. Hail to Nina and Lorena. Sup, Tom?
How you doing? Actually, you know what? That would be an awesome shirt.
Monday Night Raw. I like it.
Toxic
I
femininity.
like
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
it might be-
because I was a huge fan of Monday Night Raw, so I'm like,
Mhm.
yeah,
Tell you what.
Monday Night Raw.
Love that show.
Tell you what, if I do something with that Joker voice, I'll send you a free shirt.
There you go. There you go.
Nice.
Hey, Tom.
He coined it. He coined
I
it.
did- yes, absolutely. So remind me of that if we do Joker voice. I'm gonna have to try and keep that in mind. Raven's Journey says solo. Oops, go ahead. I'm so used to reading.
That's for Nina.
Oh, that's okay. That's okay. You could read it if you want. $1.99. Thank you so much. Raven's Journey says, "So looking forward to this live stream." Well, thank you for being here. Please smash the like, share the stream, all that good stuff.
Indeed. Tell them we are back.
And,
Absolutely. Let's see who we have. That's for you.
Yeah. Naman's cool youth pastor of the MCU for $2 Canadian. Thank you so much, Naman's. Seems like I haven't tuned in since last year.
I know,
Yeah.
right?
Pinky face.
This
You know,
is true.
I like your name, but right now, as the pastor of the MCU, is it like, we have entered the dark times, but I see a light at the end of the tunnel, and we will get there if we have faith in Spider-Man. Amen to the Toby, the Andrew, and the Tom Holland.
Speaking of Andrew Garfield, I was gonna watch one of the Spider-Man movies with him in it,
Yeah.
and instead started watching The Eyes of Tammy Faye because
You're
he
probably
played
better
Jim
off.
Baker in that.
I
You're
didn't
probably
see
better
that
off.
one.
Oh.
Did you see the article that came out about him? About how like he was so touched by the whole Spider-Man thing that he
Yes.
got to like save the girl
Yeah.
finally. I was like,
Yeah,
oh my
I read
God.
that. I saw
love
that.
it.
He makes a very, very, very good Jim Baker. That's all I'm going to say.
Oh, okay. All right.
Check
all right.
that out.
Wild Man
I'll
Beyond
live
for
it.
$1.99 says, "Anybody love Cobra Kai season 4? Hell yeah,
Yes.
I do."
Yes.
I would marry it if I could.
I thoroughly enjoyed
I like me
season
some William
4.
Zabka. I kind of like that
Ooh,
guy.
Oh, Terry
Lord.
Silver.
Looking
Terry
good.
Silver tricked me, and I freaking loved it. Man, it was
I like
awesome.
the
Badass.
Terry
It was
in that
killing
box.
me not to tell you guys about the season premiere.
I
'cause
hate
I
you,
got
by
to
the
see
way, for
Yeah,
that.
that.
me too. I was like,
Everybody hates me.
I'm jealous.
Of
Like,
all the people in the world, you could have like called me and got Tom. I know you're the biggest Cobra Kai Karate Kid fan. I just have to tell you this before it gets out there. I'm gonna end up seeing the first episode. Then I could have been like crying, and we could have had a moment and be like, "All right, I'm coming to terms with it." But no, you just throw it out there on the internet. It's like being broken up with online.
did you only get to see one?
Opportunity. Yes, it was just.
Okay.
It's just just a
It's still
premiere.
really cool.
That's why I'm just
Premiere
picking on her, of
episode.
course. But
Yeah,
no, it's just the fact that
I
she got to
got
see it a couple days early. I'm like,
whole- I got a whole lot of you. How did you? I thought we were friends. I'm one of those. Let's see. Oh, want to go back. Hillis Mallory has a member chat here. Thank you so very much.
fun.
Been a member for 10 months as an edgelord. Says, wait, this actually came out. Man, I have seen the rotation trailer running at Meyer, and it looked like that show did the same thing a bit ago. Yeah, I'd never heard of that movie.
I didn't hear about it until somebody live streamed.
Yeah.
And I was on there.
I don't think I heard about it until
know,
I saw
Jesus.
Spider-Man No Way Home was the first time I saw a trailer for it, I think.
Really?
If
I
not, it was
didn't-
Ghostbusters, one of the two.
I didn't
I-
even see one on No Way
Actually, I think it
Home.
was Ghostbusters because I had enough
Really?
time to forget about it.
I did not see it at all. Literally, I
either.
only heard about it yesterday.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
heard about it like 3-4 days ago.
No
and then people were like,
trailers,
this movie
no-
bombed. And I was like,
No
What the hell is
online
it?
ads, nothing.
yeah.
Do you know how hard it is to keep coming up with ways of saying go woke, go broke kind of shit? Like, I thought I did pretty good job this thumbnail.
Heck yeah.
Then we got Dark King here.
Let's see.
Did we? Oh, we did read this one. Oh, yeah.
Yes. Dark King for I know what does the A stand for again?
Australian.
Australian.
At least I didn't say Dark King A.
That would be
Like I was saying
Canadian.
before. Yeah.
Hey, Dark King, eh?
For $2 Australian. Thank you so much, Dark King. I've had enough hail. Rain to the ladies. Rain.
It's raining, man.
And Tom, make it rain.
How you doing?
Make it rain, baby.
Making it rain.
It's raining, man. Amen. You know what? I never thought Terry Silver could be any more cooler than he was. And then he had to go and say, I was doing a lot of cocaine and I wasted almost a half year of my life trying to take revenge on a teenager.
That was a great line. There's so many great lines in that show.
There really were. Tom, did we get
Man,
Mark's
can't
super
breathe,
chat?
can't fight. I think Mark, did I accidentally
for
skip? Oh, I did. I jumped
$25,
this
yeah.
jumped my thing. I'm so sorry about this, Mark.
Woo,
Holy cow.
Gundam. Mark,
Ooh.
$25. Thank you so much for that $250. Says, hail, ladies and Tom. Well, hello.
Wow,
How you
$25 just to
doing?
say
Thank
hello to us. Thank
you.
you so
Very
much.
generous.
So generous.
Very generous, in fact. And then we got Jason Milton here, who looks a lot like Shia LaBeouf.
He does.
does, yeah.
Thanks for the
Absolutely.
$5, Jason. Says
Mhm.
Tom with the non-woke crew 355. I don't think I will be pleased. I will be seeing Nina's at 95 pounds of fighting 250 pounds Russians like in the movie. Holy woke needs to stop.
Right? That was my
Guys.
big issue with I was actually enjoying Hawkeye until that last episode. And
I
I'm
still
like,
haven't
okay,
seen it. I'll
you
have to
you
watch
amp
it.
up a certain character's power
Mhm.
set, and then you have him getting the shit kicked out of him by a 12-year-old girl. Bravo, MCU, bravo.
Mhm.
And I wouldn't call this crew the 355. I'd call them the 411 because they know what's down.
Oh,
Ooh.
damn. Yeah.
We're actually going to get into what 355 actually means in a little
I didn't
means
even
that's
see
about What they made in the box
Hawkeye thing
office,
you're talking about,
$3.55.
Tree Biddy.
Made about
And
$3.50.
Naaman's cool youth pastor of the MCU for another $2 Canadian. Thank you so much.
Mhm.
Praise the Holy Trinity, Toby, Andrew, and Tom.
Amen.
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 Thank you for your donation. I'm
Mhm.
sure that we will use it for more Spider-Man.
Yes.
So that's the other
Yes,
thing before we
indeed.
get into the 355. I got to get everybody's reaction on Miss Marvels or whatever going into reshoots. Like everything in Marvel is going into reshoots.
Yep.
Yep.
I made fun of that, Tom, because I thought the exact same thing you did. I was like, "Oh, are they going to be putting like Spider-Man in it? Is that why they're
You
reshooting?"
talking about my tweet where I said I
Yeah.
have a feeling they're putting some
I literally thought the
spiders
same
and
thing
or
as you.
men.
Because
And
it's not just, reshoots like, hey, something was out of place, we got to go, shoot that for half a day. No, it's extensive reshoots.
Every one of
yeah,
them's been
extensive
extensive.
reshoots. And I was like, because you said that, Tom, I was like, yeah, they're just gonna stick Toby Maguire in it.
Probably.
Pretty
instead. I was
much.
like, all right, so
Show them like on
getting Toby.
TV or something like that.
I didn't know if that sounded like John Travolta, but now I want to see John Travolta as a pastor, even though he's a Scientologist. It's like, that'd be funny. I got like the total faith of the Lord inside me. I can feel it. It's totally God. I know it is. It's not some other guy from the gym. I swear.
I could see him as a tele-evangelist, but not a youth pastor, though.
Yeah, exactly.
Nah,
You're
he's
right.
he's too smooth to be a youth pastor.
I got chills.
The multiple. Colt Seaman, thank you so much for the $10. Says, hail, somebody call 911 for the 355. They're They're flatlining fast and already decomposing into a skeleton as we speak.
Ouch.
Never mind. The toxic femmes are here. Ditch the corpse and watch the stream. Hell yeah, we're gonna be talking about that.
Thank you, Cole.
I think this
very
movie went
much.
straight to the morgue. It didn't even.
It
have
was
a shot.
DOA pretty much.
They bypassed
Right into the
everything to send it
incinerator.
Straight to the right into the incinerator. It's like nope.
I didn't even know what the hell it was. I'm telling you, I didn't know what it was. What is this movie?
Yes, we have Joe Pat 87 for $4.99 super chat. Thank you so much, Joe Pat 87. I said on today's Midnight's Edge in the morning that 355 flopped because it'll be streaming soon anyway. So I rented The Protege. It only cost $1.99. And I wonder, J. Pat, what you thought of it. I love The Protege.
I've heard pretty good things about Protege.
It's fantastic.
What is that about?
It's got is that the Samuel Jackson, Michael Keaton, and they're training a female assassin or something like that.
Maggie Q plays Samuel L. Jackson's protege, and there's a love interest. believe it or not, 70-year-old Michael Keaton. He knows how to put that 70 years of experience to. I'll just leave it at that. But
hey, if Michael Keaton asked me out, I'd have a hard time saying no.
But even she has difficulty fighting. She's not always knocking over people, and it's perfect all the time.
Hey, it looks good.
You guys will love it.
I will have to put that on my list as soon as I finish the Eyes of Tammy Faye.
Michael, you know what I want to hear.
Differently now. I mean, I was like 70. Okay, I'm like, I guess we could try this out because he really showed what he's made of and so much more. I can't wait to see more of Michael Keaton.
Tom, I know.
He can get it right.
I know what you want to hear. You want to hear him say, "I'm Batman."
That's right.
Then he can do whatever he wants.
He knows how to work it, and I think he could probably talk the pants off of any woman. But this is just my opinion. I think that he's still incredible. That's the kind of men we want to see. It doesn't really matter what you look like. If you can have that type of charisma on the screen and grab our attention, trust me, you will get the ladies' attention. And thank you, Michael Keaton.
Joey, I like this idea, even though, he's way too old now, but when he was younger, that'd have been hilarious. Like, Aunt May, why are you always fucking with my hair? Can you leave my hair alone? Look, with great power comes great responsibility. With great hair comes great smooth. So you got to leave it alone.
I can so see that.
That would be a great parody. That would be a great parody.
I got to save the universe.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mr. Carter.
Is it my turn?
I think we did this one.
We did this one. Okay, I grabbed the wrong one twice. I'm sorry about that, but there you go.
That's okay. Hillis Mallory for $5. Thank you. So these reshoots for Doctor Strange going to take out America Chavez. Nah, it'll be fine.
No.
It's funny. She's hardly in the trailer, but no, I doubt that's the case.
I doubt that's the case too.
Yeah, they're gonna pimp her out as much as possible.
I don't know. I think these reshoots, though, are to kind of after Spider-Man, you got to imagine that some of this is to definitely try and get things back in shape.
I kind of agree with you, Tom, because it just seems like the timing of all these, like, let's go do these reshoots seems like, oh, wait, what? Like Spider-Man made this much money and it had like, not woke stuff and it had like a bunch of white men in it and our actual heroes that people care about.
Am
Okay.
I right? The whole black
maybe
cast is white now? What the
or
Right?
that the female characters are actually likable. Maybe we need to go back and reshoot some
I
of
wish
this
that
stuff.
was the lessons they were learning, but no, they're just learning that, oh, we need more characters in these movies. Okay.
They're
maybe
white
we'll
men in
just
this
like
movie?
maybe they're just gonna put like every Spider-Man and I don't know, X-Men, whatever.
But I think I don't see them cutting her out of that. They may cut it down, but I don't
Is
think
it
completely out.
possible for Doctor Strange though? Is it possible that they're gonna make it so that he's not as much of a bitch to Wanda as like, the trailer kind of made it out to be? Like he's like, like I'm here to like you don't have to worry about like 'cause she was like, I hurt people in the trailer, and he's like, that's not what I'm here for. And it's
Yeah.
like, oh, I don't know. Are you maybe he might wanna be more of a hero there? I don't know.
I like Doctor Strange as an
I do
Hand out some
too,
more
but-
consequences. I don't know.
I'm with
That
Nina
would
though.
be
I do
nice.
understand the concern. Like that teaser at the end of Spider-Man did nothing for me.
It didn't.
I wasn't impressed, and it seemed like hardly anybody in the theater was either. It was just kind of like
And
we
I
waited
loved
to
the
look
first
at
Doctor
this.
Strange. Yeah.
Me too. I
Oh,
loved the
that
first
was
Doctor Strange.
my favorite. I really did like that. So I'm concerned about the second one
And
here.
I love Sam
Honestly,
Raimi. So yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
They could have gone in the opposite direction with her, and for her to say, now that I've studied everything, she should be more combative with him. And he has to try and control that. Like that would have been so much more interesting than her kind of like, well, I was wrong. And we're like, no, you did some messed up things. We want to
you did
see
some
more
effed up stuff.
Yeah.
We want
do
you
some more
we
things.
want you to catch it in the ass about that, but not right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We want to see some more crazy shit that you can do, Wanda. And
Yeah.
like I have a feeling like if she was more of a loose cannon, it would be even more interesting and people would turn out for this. Like, what did she do? What?
True.
I'll
I
go
bet
even a
they
step
were-
further. Make her the villain. Fuck it.
Well, you know
Yes,
what though?
yes.
They're bringing in like the villain like of Doctor Strange. So like that, like his evil
Like the
self.
mirror
So,
universe version.
yeah.
of
So
Yeah, Black
obviously they're
Widow.
gonna make it so Wanda is gonna be helping, like I guess, like the actual Doctor Strange battle his evil self. So I don't know.
Oh,
what
she's
they're
gonna
doing.
make him better.
Yeah,
Oh God, I hope
She's
for
gonna
I
fix
think so.
him.
I think so.
can't.
Oh, lovely.
Action dot
I
wait,
can't.
why did it say action.com? It's not
Action
dot.
com.
Action.com.
There you go. There you go.
Thank you so much for the $5. Says Nina, haven't gotten your opinion. Have you seen trailers for the upcoming Reacher series and the new Reacher Do It For You? Calm down. I will tell you this right now. Because of what happened with and how wet her panties got, telling me about this series, I went and watched it. Like I watched the trailer, and it's yes, hell fucking yes, let's go. Hell yeah.
She hooked me, and she's like, "Oh, you have to look at this." I'm like, "Really?" And then I look at it, and I'm like, "Oh yeah."
I'll just say this:
yeah.
hashtag moist. That's all I will say. This. Oh my god, yes, let's do
Pretty
this.
much.
I'm down.
Yes.
The
I'm
vapors are
down.
getting to me.
It reached to me. I love it. Hypergiver 2 for $5 super chat. Thank you so much, Hypergiver 2. Finally, the super sexy toxic femmes are back. But where's Mandy? We need full toxicity to recover from 2 weeks of your absence.
I wish she was here. She's taking some family time, but hopefully she'll be back sooner than later. And yeah, there's almost 400 of you out there. So please hit that like button, share out the stream, let everybody know that we're live right now with these lovely ladies. And I'm not going to keep you from them any longer. In fact, I'm going to scoot myself to the back here and let them get started on these topics tonight.
Okay. This is the weird situation of a movie I've seen zero advertisement for, apparently dropped and bombed. Literally, I had not heard of the 355. Now, I watch a lot of freaking streaming, tons of streaming. I get ads pushed to me while I'm watching stuff. I even get ads pushed to me when I push the darn pause button to go do something else. There's like ads crawling all over the place. I see crazy amounts of trailers. I haven't seen anything for this particular movie.
Me either, Lorena. Zero. I haven't seen anything. I didn't know about it until I was on the stream, and I think somebody super chatted like, have you seen or heard about this? And I was like, I don't, the fuck are you talking about? and then I looked it up and I was like, this looks awful. And then we just together watched the trailer before the stream started because I was like, what is this? Like, why is everyone saying this is shit? And man, boy, by just looking at that trailer, I'm like, ooh.
That trailer, it started out intriguing.
Yeah, because of Sebastian Stan.
Because of Sebastian Stan. Two, because of the historical like loose tie that they made. So they set it up good, but then it all went to hell in a rocket for the rest of the trailer. What were your thoughts?
Yeah, ladies, like if this gives you any indication, if you just look at this photo, this is one of the worst promotional photos I've ever seen for a film. I am so bored. Ugly. I don't want to have anything to do with these ladies. they're not exciting. They don't look like they're spies. They don't, and I know that they're beautiful dresses, but they're not sexy enough. And you were saying, Nina, not Nina, Lorena, yeah, it was you, Nina. You were saying that it looks like a Hillary Clinton pantsuit that this woman is wearing. And, you know, we know these women are beautiful. These are beautiful, stunning Hollywood stars who are fashionistas. Many of them have been on the best dressed list.
The chick on the far right there, who's not part of the group, look is better dressed than them.
Oh yeah, we actually talked about
we were talking about that. Like her dress is cuter than.
It's got
like,
a nice V-neck going down to show the bosoms and all that
cocktail dress. You can see, you know, the legs.
These girls look like they're bridesmaids or going to like, you know, your friend's wedding that you hate.
Well, the one on the far left looks like she's headed to a funeral.
Yes.
And
she looks like she's like Santa's apprentice. Like, what is she wearing?
Yeah, the one, the green. Yeah,
oh, with the green.
Like Christmas just threw up all over that shit.
That is, and it's not even a
with
beautiful
the Wonder Woman
green.
buckle there going on.
I was actually talking about the far right one.
Oh, the far right. Yeah, they do look like Christmas.
Red pants
with the velvet. Like, no one wears a velvet pantsuit.
We're expecting Valentino. We're expecting you know, high fashion, high end stuff. These guys are going to casinos all over the world. We're expecting them to have access to stuff that most people don't. They don't look like they're top notch, you know, spies. They don't look top notch anything. This looks like, you know, bargain. You know, let's pull whatever we had, you know, in wardrobe.
They rolled into J.C. Penney is pretty much what they did.
Ouch.
And found something that was on a discount. It doesn't look like they rolled out of Neiman's with a gorgeous, just like outfit, like say Versace or something like that.
Can you zoom in a little bit just so we can get a better view of these?
Absolutely.
I actually have a button for their effort.
That goes to the costumer.
Okay, I will say this. Penelope Cruz's dress is pretty nice, okay? And I can tell that she's probably like, she went like, you know, somebody went up to her and like, you know, tried, like they show her different dresses, right? And they probably tried to stick her in some ugly ass shit. And she was like, I'm not wearing that fucking shit, okay? Like, you need to get me a better fucking dress. I can see her just being like, nah. No. That's why she looks better than everybody else.
I would have to agree because Penelope's been on lots of magazine covers. Lupita as well, which is why I don't understand why she's in that ugly ass pantsuit, because she has been on the cover of like Vogue and all of that. But yet this ugliness
Listen, Lorena, I'm sorry, but like I really do feel like they always try to like uggify Black women. They just do. It's just the way it is. I don't know why they do it, but they just like, she's a beautiful lady And look at this. What is she wearing? She's wearing fucking Hillary Clinton's pantsuit.
I would say this. This is what I would say. I would say that they will basically try to uglify you if you are not American, because I couldn't see Halle Berry standing to be dressed as crappily as that. So I don't know if it's because Lupita's not trying to rock the boat or anything like that. I have no idea. So I really don't think that it's necessarily because she's Black. I think it's because basically she's not American.
And none of the ladies are really showing any leg, and they're all beautiful. They all have beautiful figures. So like they're kind of covered up a little bit too much. And if they are going to wear a long dress, let it have a slit on the side or something. Like go ahead and work with what people are wearing now. Like that open fashion one where it's long and then you can still see a person's legs. Let them wear the shorter things inside. But like this is really kind of a look that nobody's going to be that excited about, because it's not honestly working to any of their figures well. And that's a huge strike against this, because this is their promotional photo. This is
exactly
forward.
And just to bring, and yeah, you're right, try to look hard, and manly, but also to add to that, because that is true, but to add to that, they do not want to give any kind of indication of any femininity here. Penelope Cruz is about the closest that you're going to get to it.
And that and the like side actress. Like that,
the
what the fuck
character,
some rando. Okay,
but everyone else, it's like you can have a long green dress like that and still have it look sexy and not look freaking dumpy. You can have a pantsuit that has a whole lot of interest and looks gorgeous, but they didn't do that. And then they have that like crushed velvet pantsuit over there that just looks ugly. No, there's no hint of femininity with this.
Because you're talking about this being the promotional photo for this. This isn't the promotional photo, because I'm looking at, like, you just go and just Google like the 355. Like this is the actual promotional photo, which is even worse. Who made this poster? What is happening here? This is the ugliest poster I've ever seen.
That's the thumbnail.
No.
Oh my
what
God,
the hell? Like, what is this?
Ugly.
It looks like a CW show or something.
It's awful. They look angry. They don't look like they're involved in working on the good side. They look like they're pissed off and they're gonna like burn down the Capitol. They don't look like they're happy. They look angry. Right? Don't they?
January 6th or something?
Pissed off, mad,
whatever.
They
look like they're about to
do
damage. They don't look like they're about to save the day. They have an attitude in the photos. Like, it's not,
At least this is kind of like a little bit more.
I'm sorry. It looks like a feminine version of Captain Planet and the Planeteers.
That's just scary.
It's just, we got to make sure we got every race. We got every this.
Like, ugly.
Look at how she's wearing the bag across her body. Oh, God, it's so horrible.
No one would, no self-respecting chick would wear a bag like that. Okay?
And I popped in because I made a point this morning. I really want to get your ladies' take on it. Imagine if this was an all-male led film right now, and you had two white leads along with 3 other men that were, not white. How do you think Hollywood would react to that?
Toxic masculinity, so racist.
Of course, the white man is a leader. Why isn't Idris Elba the star?
Especially if they're all straight, that's a problem.
Yeah, that's what I mean. They'll be all like, "Why isn't Idris Elba the star?"
It almost looks like you raided someone's closet. They didn't have a lot and you had to throw shit together. And, this is kind of like the best a person could do. And, you show up to a bar and, maybe you do some shots. This is not, espionage. This is not MI6.
It doesn't even look sexy enough to be something out of Sex in the City even. Like,
dude, it says from the studios that brought you Jason Bourne.
That's an embarrassment.
Okay, well, if these ladies are supposed to be spies, wouldn't they be using like their looks and all that kind of stuff as part of their game? Like, this almost makes them stick out like a sore thumb. I know somebody made the joke like a neon sign earlier.
Was Jason Bourne known for his fashion prowess?
No,
he's not 007. He's not that type of character.
But he blended in, and his wardrobe was the proper match for his persona all throughout,
Well,
the
he was
Bourne
on the
identity.
run.
You could tell even by the poster, even by the promo poster,
Mom's
it
Night
fit with this
Yeah.
crap. Yeah,
I
Mom's
wasn't
Night
gonna
Out.
say that because I think moms would dress
Soccer
better
mom's
than
night
that.
out.
Yeah, I think moms
I
would be
would
wearing mini skirts and
I
high
wouldn't
heels
even
and
embarrass soccer moms by
I-
doing
Yeah,
that
they
with
actually have
these.
more fashion sense than that.
These-
There was a movie about that, about Mom's Night Out with Mila Kunis, and
Yeah,
they
yeah.
wore
No, it was
great
called Bad
outfits.
Moms.
Bad
Yeah,
Moms.
yeah,
I
yeah.
love
Great.
and
that
they were in
movie.
mini skirts showing all sorts of cooch
Yeah.
and stuff.
I love that
Everything.
movie.
It was freaking awesome. But just to
This is
talk
my
a
favorite
bit,
new thing in trailers lately. Like this is
Which one?
nothing. This is a new one. Like remember when the old trailers it used to be from the director of Back to the Future and
Yeah.
Romancing the Stone. Now instead of it's from the studio, they're like, who gives a fuck about what studio? That has nothing to do with the movie.
Yeah, nothing.
They just, they're just piggytailing. I'm like, yeah, that studio that did
That's
that
the
thing
new
that
thing,
you really
though.
liked. It's coming from the same place. The only thing is it's just the same freaking space.
Let's
No,
be
it's just
honest.
ridiculous.
Let's be honest. It says that it's ultra progressive, and we know that if these ladies had to walk down the red carpet right now, that none of them would choose any of these dresses as a red carpet dress. Not a
Oh,
one.
hell no.
God,
It's
the
just-
words just ultra progressive is like what?
I want to know
It's not
No.
just progressive.
what
It's ultra.
stylist.
Wait. So
Yeah.
did Simon Kinberg direct this? Is that what you
I
were
didn't-
saying? Or are you just kidding, Fanto?
I don't know.
I
The
don't
chat
know.
lies, Tom. Let's see.
I know they like to goof around. That's why I was like double checking. I wouldn't put it past him. This is totally something.
Director Simon Kinberg.
Yep.
Yep.
Frumpy
Frumpy and stunning.
Frumping, and that's exactly definitely not
There goes his
stunning, but
career.
frumpy.
Oh boy, he's the
It's-
guy that made X-Men Dark Phoenix. Yeah,
And did
that's
the
all you need to
reshot-
know.
And did the reshoots for
I've had a ton of
Fantastic?
like bridesmaids dresses and having to go through that. Sorry guys, but some of those bridesmaids dresses they're not meant to be overly. It's somewhat more toned down dress, and I think that's what we have here is sort of like a bridesmaid or like I said, going to a wedding of somebody you really don't like anymore situation. So clearly any one of these could be worn to an event like that.
They're so freaking ugly. I mean, just the color palette. It's
And they're
just
not ugly
freaking driving
women.
me
These are
nuts.
beautiful women. These are
No,
stunningly beautiful
they're
women.
gorgeous women, but it's like then again, it's like with the whole Rose Tico situation. Kelly Marie Tran
what
is
I'm saying.
gorgeous,
That's what
but
I'm
they
saying.
can't have, like someone said in the chat, can't have the male gaze now. That is problematic.
That's what I'm
Thank you,
saying. They
Wild and
uglify
Beyond.
minority women, and they they make them all ugly, and then they're like,
Specifically,
oh,
yes,
it's because people are sexist and racist that they don't like these women, and it's like, dude, no, you made them ugly, okay? Like,
You
Lorraine,
dressed them ugly.
Can you show the honestly, this is the most incredible dress that Lorraine is going to pull up. I mean, if you can, of Lupita Nyong'o, what she actually
let me
looks
see.
like,
Hang on.
because this woman is a fashion icon. She wore a dress that was just such a moment.
look at that.
See, this is the Vogue quality dress. This is a dress where if you're going to whatever award ceremony or whatever, the designer is like, I want you to wear my particular design.
Mhm.
This is haute couture. This is the kind of thing that you wear to look absolutely stunning. It contrasts against how dark her skin is. This is how you know you have someone who knows how to dress people.
Mhm.
And it's made of pearls from head to toe. There is no man watching this who isn't like, what?
That whole thing is made of pearls.
All made of pearls.
Made out of pearls from head to toe, Nina.
Zoom in, girl.
See?
Can you zoom in?
See?
Can you zoom in on
You can
it?
see it from the front here. See that?
Damn.
That
Beautiful.
dress makes
There's-
me hear Prince.
There's
If I
large
could
pearls on the
diamonds
top,
and
and then there's
pearls.
seed pearls that are attached to the
Stunning.
dress
Wow.
here. Yes, I know
Stunning.
way too much stuff about them.
And
that
this
is
is
a
the chick-
stunning dress for reals. That's
it out.
awesome.
This is the chick they put in that Hillary Clinton pantsuit.
Yeah, and then they give her a fucking Hillary Clinton pantsuit.
Look
That's
at it,
what's going on.
and haircut.
And haircut.
And haircut.
It's
I'm
not.
I'm gonna
her.
be
Like,
honest.
just-
I'm gonna be honest, ladies. Every time you bring this picture up, my eyes go straight to those fucking legs.
The
As
one
they
on the right,
should.
the one on the right, yeah.
The one on the
As
right.
they should.
As they
As they
should.
should.
And
But for
eventually I
this,
realized she has a very nice smile.
that's okay. As long as you eventually notice it, right? That's all right. Oh, but here's the thing that cracks me up. Do you ladies even know what the 355 stands for?
Well, I do now after you educated me, but yeah, no,
Okay.
I did not.
Okay, so the 355. So apparently that refers to a, I just want to say like a cipher for one of the spies in culper spy ring. Now, to go back all the way to the American Revolution, the
Mhm.
Patriots did not have an intelligence network like the British did. So if you've ever heard of the Culper spy ring, you can thank the miniseries Turn
Ooh.
Mhm.
for informing you about it. This series is flipping amazing.
I really
It's
want to
great.
watch this now.
It's awesome. There's a
It's
lady
so good.
in there. Local legend has not been verified. Her name was Sarah Strong, and she was actually one of the spies with the number 355. They never put names, they only put numbers.
That's what the movie says in the trailer, right? Like they're like, "Oh, this woman was there,"
That's what the
and
movie
then
says in the trailer here, where they have
Mhm.
we have this legacy of, this woman who she was one of Washington's spies. Again, not verified. It was local legend. They never could verify that there was a woman. Granted, this was back in the American Revolution. They weren't really giving women, a lot of
Mhm.
props. So she's not documented. However, that would have been a cool premise to go with because yes, Turn is freaking awesome.
It's so
It's
good.
an awesome show. And they go from this to basically say, hey, we can all be number 355,
Well, I
whether,
would have liked to
you
see a
know,
historical thriller about her. That would have been cool about this
Mhm.
lady, this myth, this legend, and the legend around her and what she did versus like
mhm.
who gives a shit about now? Hundreds of years later, she was this like person, and it's like, okay, well, can we know that story first, and then we
Mhm.
can talk about her,
or
whatever happens
or
in the future.
even just if there, was this like category called the 355 that turned out to be a special CIA agent with a certain assortment of skills, you know, on a mission. I could have dealt with that. That would have been great. But no, instead, what they give us is the 355 is an ideal. You have agents from, England. That's freaking MI6. So I don't know how that fits in over here. Someone from, Colombia, all these people from all over. So it makes it look like this worldwide thing
Mhm.
instead of just being an American thing. So you already lost me there with respect to the
Yeah, because
story.
I think they're trying to say like diversity, like so like all these women found out about this like, majestic woman that was like a spy or whatever, and then they decided to become spies and like in every single country. It's like really like no man, this seems like
That
this is like
that
an
is
American thing. Like,
that
no.
is like seeing a Bond movie and it's MI6, but they're like, okay, let's go get everybody else and bring him into the service of Her Majesty. Are you freaking kidding me?
Yeah,
I don't
no,
want to
that's
watch
not
that.
gonna work.
I want to
That's not
freaking
gonna
watch
work. Though
that
they do
movie.
seem to be at odds in some of the scenes. So I don't know if they're working for the CIA,
I think they're trying to save the world, so it's kind of like a
yeah.
shotgun wedding type of situation. But it's like again, why are you gonna tie it back to
Like there was a
supposedly
scene
something
with
that's uniquely American?
what was her name again? Naomi, is that her name? This lady.
Yeah, that's true.
There was another scene where she was like, I guess like the first scene where she was meeting one of the spies and she's like, they're kind of like in a shootout situation because she doesn't know like, what she's about or whatever. So I
Mhm.
feel like that's kind of like the story is like how they get together, but before that they're kind of like enemies because they don't know each other and they have to figure that out. Um Also Penelope Cruz as a Colombian uh uh, uh, secret agent.
Yeah, no stereotype
There's
there.
yeah, there's no fuck, man. I don't know what to say sometimes. I'm like, really?
No
This is
stereotype
this what we're
there.
going?
They look disinterested. Like even the look on their faces is
We'd rather be anywhere else but here. Not like, you know what, I'm on a mission to freaking save the world. And let's get down to it.
Dude, the trailer looked CW. Tom is right. Like I was like it started out pretty good. And then by the end of it, I was like, is this like what the fuck is this?
Let's talk about our feelings and let's try to kick the asses of men who outweigh us by 150 pounds.
Oh god.
But just our sheer, skill. No. That's not how
Here's another Asian lady that's like uglified. Like, what is she wearing
It's
there?
so ugly. I'm so sorry. They are fashionable people. This is bullshit. They are fashionable people. This is not something like they're fashionable. This is ridiculous.
Let me make the Asian lady look like absolute trash.
I'm sorry. I go back to just like the Bond movies. My favorite are the ones with Halle Berry in it. I just got to do. Her outfits always looked on point. All the Bond women.
Yeah.
Their outfits were hot.
Except for the new one.
Oh, well, we don't count that one. Anything after
Skyfall,
and
she was black. Attention. See what I'm talking about, Lorena? Like it's weird. It's just weird.
Oh no, it's a concerted effort.
I feel like it is.
It's a generation. Let's put it this way. It's a generational concerted effort.
Because in that same movie, you had Ana de Armas, which was in that fucking beautiful dress, and she was like so amazing looking. And then you had her, and it's like, really? Like that this lady's not that ugly. Like she's a beautiful woman.
I haven't seen any cleavage in any of this.
No.
Not one, breast to breast scene. Nothing.
No, I'm upset.
That's breast. Did you just say breast to breast?
Yeah. She did. Well, that's what cleavage is.
Great. Odin's Raven.
She did.
Breast to breast.
That's what it is. I mean, that's what there are breasts and they hit each other.
I like it.
She said breast to breast. But here's what cracks me up.
I would like some breast on breast assist action, please.
When you lost the Guardian, your movie sucks.
No. Wow. A disappointing dud. Wah.
2 stars. The Oscar nominee leads an impressive cast in a frustratingly rote caper that ends up being as forgettable as its title.
Well, that's 2 tick box checkers of this year that have really fucking in the last year, if you count Internals and now, because it's not the same year, but where the critics weren't behind it.
Yeah,
even though it checked off all the boxes, but
again, I don't know.
And see
when people are going to learn this, but it's not about just checking off the freaking boxes. Yeah, and the story is crap. If you want to tick off boxes, go right ahead, but give us something that's actually freaking worth watching.
Yeah, and you know what? I wouldn't call this movie woke. I don't think this is a woke movie. I think this is an intersectional feminist movie, and that there's more we need to isolate woke and act what things actually are, because I feel like woke is being used way too much now for every genre.
That's a good point, because I don't think anybody's seen this movie, so we don't even know if it's woke or not.
Well, here's the thing. I also think that it's come to a point where the term woke is being overused and misused.
Yes.
To the point where it has about as much power as calling somebody racist these days. It doesn't.
Exactly.
Woke in its original format is basically exposing your mind to the injustices of society. Okay.
Right.
So that was basically it. But what happened is you have people in activist entertainment who do not want to actually tell a story, do not want to give you cohesive storytelling, but they want to check every box and give it to you and say, this is it. And if you don't like it, you're an istophobe or whatever. So I can watch something that's supposedly woke, or I'll call it activist entertainment, like Get Out. I actually like that story.
I like that
actually
movie.
Pretty good. It was a pretty good, plot. It was actually good freaking entertainment. That was cool. I like that. I just really think that term's been misused
Yeah, I
really.
agree. And I think this specifically is an intersectional feminism case
I would
because
have to agree with you on
I
that.
mean, this is about femming up, like, a very masculine like, genre in general. So, like, you have CIA agents,
Spies,
spies, and
not
blah, blah,
sexy
blah.
spies now, not sexy
Mm-mm.
spies.
And then
Not-
and then you have the intersectional feminists coming in there and being like, let's put you in an ugly pantsuit because that's what feminists like to wear is ugly ass pantsuits that make them look like men.
There
Like
is
it
no
just
sex in this whatsoever. It is a
no.
sexless show.
It's
Capers
not.
usually have some kind of sex in them. This is so incredibly, it's
Dull.
saddening. It's
What?
depressing. This
What
is
happened to the burn your bras feminists?
I know.
Who were just like, I'm really hot. You're just gonna have to handle it.
It would have been more interesting if they showed up in stuff where it was more even loose fitting, but this stuff is
Ooh,
like,
speaking of that, I saw this lady the other day, like in the street, and she was like walking across the street with her little kid,
Yeah.
and she was wearing like the hottest like outfit, and she
Yeah.
was wearing no bra, and she had to run because the light was gonna turn, and it like all over the place. But I mean, she's beautiful, but I was like, damn, and it was a beautiful sight. I'll just say
yeah,
that.
see, it can be done. It doesn't always have to be, super form fitting, but just something that looks good. Because none of these, like I said, I don't really feel, in my opinion, that any of these dresses are doing anything for these ladies who have beautiful figures. They're beautiful women, and we don't like to see them like this. And I imagine, I really do believe, I imagine that they weren't that thrilled with the choices that they were given here. I mean, it's not exciting. It needs to be exciting. This is entertainment.
This is but freaking ugly. Newsflash: women like to look at other hotly dressed women.
Yeah, like we just did with her dress, like with that pearl dress, where we're like, oh my god, look how beautiful that dress is. She looks so beautiful in there, and it's like, and then we're like, what the fuck is this shit?
Those horrible pocketbooks. God, I just want to throw them out and put them on a bonfire. Oh.
Because it's like, who is this movie made for? If you're gearing it towards men, you want to show men like, that women can be hot and have skin and like, get that like, sex sells, right? If you're gearing it towards women because you want to be like, women are powerful and they can beat up men or whatever, at least make them look good. So we're like, yeah, look at those dresses. They can kick ass and like look beautiful. And it's like, no, it doesn't work in either case. Like nobody's liking this.
I mean, those weird, I don't know if it's in this movie because I have not seen this film, but I was talking about this the other day, and it's like, I don't really feel comfortable seeing women fight men at all anyway. But, to convince me that, the average woman can kind of fight a guy, I'm not convinced of it. And even when it's a superhero, even then I'm like questioning it. I'm like, wait a minute, that's a guy. You can't do that. Like,
it's
weird.
I mean, to cut you off. You need an equalizer. So for those folks who know me, I'm licensed to carry firearms. Okay. One of the best things a female cop ever told me, she's like, if I'm like 150 pounds and this perp is coming at me that outweighs me by 100 pounds, guess what? I'm pulling out my service weapon and I'm taking him down center mass. That's the equalizer that I have. So it's
that
like
sounds really hot.
Yeah, it is freaking hot. It's freaking hot. I was almost a homicide detective, but
oh my.
But that's a situation where
I want to see that
makes
show.
Sense. You want to see that show?
I want to see that show too.
Lorena Creole, homicide detective.
I love it.
I love it.
Yeah, I did. I wanted
She's
to wear,
on the case. Just don't get her on your case.
No, I like it. I like it. Ooh.
Oh, somebody make that into a comic.
I want to be like, can I be the partner, but like the partner that's kind of like, I don't know. I'll just be your backup. We can be your like.
That'll work. That'll work. We can do the Miami Vice pose. That's pretty cool. I like that. I like that. But getting back to that, there needs to be some kind of equalizer, whether it's a firearm, whether
that name's already been used though, Lorena.
Which one?
The Equalizer.
The Equalizer.
I know you're talking about something else.
I'm embarrassed for bringing that up because I freaking hate that new one. Oh man, yeah, not that Queen Latifah one. But that's what I'm saying. It's not it's definitely not logical, and it really insults, your audience if you think that some woman weighing 100 pounds soaking wet is going to take out some 150 250-pound guy with a bare hands.
No.
Oh, no. That's not gonna work, and that's what they're trying to sell us in this film, and it's just not working.
Well, I don't believe it.
I don't either. Hell no. Oh, I like that one.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, toxic femininity.
There's a
bad.
reason whenever you see like old school domestic fights or whatever, or some guys like sneaking in the house, burglar sneaking in the house, why is it the woman gets a cast iron skillet and knocks him upside the head with it?
Or the grandma has a shotgun.
Oh, that too. That's my favorite.
Yeah, see, my icon already kind of looks like the the Vice City thing going on.
Yes,
So
yes, it
yeah,
does.
I'm so down with all of these ideas. I think it's fucking magnificent. We need more of that.
But we actually know how to write, and not only that, as consumers, we know what we want to see. We don't want
Yeah.
to be insulted. We want to be entertained. There's certain things that we want, that we want to see. You want to write a progressive movie? Yeah, sure, go ahead. But there's some truths out there, which means, there's things the audience wants to see. And to kind of quote John Nolte of Breitbart, he's like, all these women in this movie and no TNA.
Yeah.
He actually said that?
That's one of his favorite things to say about these movies with these chicks in it, like Terminator, Dark Fate, and the rest of them. It's like, you got all these women and no TNA.
Oh my God. I love that. He's
Mhm.
right. He's right. That's exactly what's going on. And that's why intersectional feminism wins everything.
But even the way they're standing, they don't have any confidence. That like they're very kind of like, oh, what do we do? And their reaction, the way that they're even standing is confusing, because you would expect them to kind of be more like, yep.
Yeah, but
got
to be fair, like we can't really judge based on that, because these are like, screenshots from the movie. I mean, the Guardian's clearly taking probably one of the worst looking screenshot to represent the idea that this is a disappointing dud. So like we can't really judge it based on that. You can try and do that when you watch the trailer, and if that's how you feel like that they're like looking, like maybe that would be more accurate, but we can't base it on these action pictures. I feel like it's not quite fair.
Yeah, it's kind of nuts.
But we don't know. I mean,
yeah,
let me ask you
really.
something. Like seriously though, are you ladies gonna watch this movie? I almost feel like maybe we should just watch it just
What to like hate watch it?
yeah, just to see like how bad is
Well,
it
it'll
gonna
probably be on streaming next week. So
Because
if it
it's
is, then you
bad.
guys can
It's
check it out.
that
Yeah.
bad. But
I'm
here's the
curious
crux.
because I watched like the Ocean's 8 or whatever, Ocean's 12. I don't remember what the
Mhm.
fuck it was called, but the femme version, like I watched that with Sandra Bullock and Anne Hathaway and stuff. And I mean that movie was fucking awful. But at least they
Sure.
had better outfits in it than this movie.
Oh God, yeah. But let me drop this line before we bring in our special guest who's
Yes,
backstage.
well, you got it.
Check this out. So in the end here, it says the 355 needed older moviegoers who are spooked by the Wu-Tang flew to the third power variant. So apparently it needed older moviegoers.
It's
like
Omicron
that's
crime.
because older moviegoers weren't going to see Spider-Man No Way Home, right?
No, nobody was going to see that.
No, see,
Marina, what are you
let's
talking
see.
about? Everybody was scared. Everyone was in their homes.
You stay in here
Hunkering
and I won't
down.
go out and I'll just hang around.
Just like under
But-
the blanket and shit. Like, no.
I have a theory that the worse it sounds, the less likely it probably is to kill you. But I'm not a doctor, so I don't know.
Not a doctor.
Well, I know somebody who is definitely going to have a very, very interesting take on this. Folks, please do welcome back to the show, Cameron Pasha. How
Yes,
are
dear,
you, my dear?
Yay.
Three lovely ladies and another bald dude, and it's good. Oh, they'll so I have one comment. Happy New Year, number one.
Happy New Year,
Happy
Cameron.
New Year, three beautiful ladies to start the year. So one comment. Hate watching is like hate sex. Even when it's bad, it's still pretty good.
Oh,
So that's a little perspective I wanted to give.
okay. All right.
Interesting.
I agree with Cameron to a point. It's better than like watching something that's really boring.
Mm-hmm.
At least if you're hate watching it, you're still engaged.
I mean, I kind of did that with that movie, Unpregnant or whatever. Like, I was like, I'm not gonna enjoy this movie. But I'll watch it just to see what the fuck it is.
That's kind of like why I'm gonna watch the Eternals. Because
Mm.
nobody's gonna call me. Well, they'll try to call me racist. But
Is that hate watching? Is that like male watching? I don't know.
like what we're watching?
Meh, MEH.
Oh, like meh watching.
And I don't, I won't know until I actually hit that button.
I plan to see this movie because hot chicks with guns is my genre. And it doesn't have to be well written.
But
That's
they've
my genre.
uglified them though, Kamran. Look
No,
at
they're
this.
they're hot. Look at how are they ugly. They don't look ugly in this. Come on.
Is there a sex scene in this film?
We don't know yet.
You got 4 chicks and you ain't got a sex scene with all 4 of them together. I say this is bullshit.
is in this film.
Well, I don't know if you know, but Sebastian and I worked together on Kings. So I worked with him on his very big break that got him his big feature career. He was one of our leads on Kings, and he was wonderful to work with, and he was an absolute professional. He had some very interesting adventures because for whatever reason at that time, he kind of looked up to me as like, older brother, and he would ask advice on like dating. I'm like, why am I giving advice to Sebastian Stan on dating?
God,
He was
he
dating
is
like
so
Lee Easter or whatever at
hot.
the time, and he'd be like, well, I don't know if my relationship with my girl's working out. Can you help me? I was like, why am I giving this guy advice? And I gave him advice. I said, well, why don't you start acting like a man instead of a wuss? And then she broke up with him. So that wasn't obviously the right advice. Whatever.
What? Who breaks up with Sebastian Stan? He's so
Started
hot.
acting like a man. I guess he took my advice, and I guess.
Trust me, that bitch is crying into her pillow to this day.
Probably.
It's like who divorces Antonio Banderas? I'm like, come on now.
All right, can I share a Sebastian Stan story?
Please do.
Sure.
Please do.
So I was on set on Kings once. We were filming in New York, and and if those of you who saw the show will remember, his character is sort of a closeted gay prince in this kingdom, right? And he's
God,
yeah,
no, that's terrible.
Well,
sorry,
he was uncomfortable with his sexuality, but and he was doing the Oscar Wilde thing, which is banging a lot of girls to hide who he was.
Okay, to figure that out.
Yeah, whatever. And so that was the character, and then we had this pivotal moment in the show when his mother, the queen, thinks he's hidden who he is from everybody, but his mother, the queen, finally confronts him and tells him, look, basically she tells him, I know about your secret life and you can't be doing this stuff because it makes us look bad. And it's this really intense scene where she basically confronts him and he discovers she knows about him and his dalliances, his private dalliances, and he didn't see that coming. And so it's obviously a very emotionally intense scene. He's essentially being outed by his own mother, right? And so it's really hard. And so on the day of that scene, I happened to be on set, and so Sebastian is a real method guy. He really gets into the emotions and he takes it real seriously. I'm sure this is what, 10 years ago. So I'm sure he's disciplined his craft since then, but he was very young still as an actor. And he got really, really intense and revving his emotions up prior to the pivotal scene we're about to film. And as he's building himself up for this confrontational anger that he's supposed to have, he turns and just before we're about to, roll cameras, just before that, he turns and he punches the wall of the set. Problem is, it was a real wall, and it was like a brick wall, and he punched right into it, and he broke his hand. And so suddenly I'm like, he's like in real pain. Something's gone wrong. We're like, okay, cut. That wasn't what we're supposed to do. And I'm like the producer on set. I'm like, what am I supposed to do here? I'm like, I guess we got to call an ambulance.
Yeah.
One of our leads is deeply injured his hand. And then, and then the EMTs come and whatever. And I have a conversation with Sebastian. I'm like, Sebastian, I respect your craft. I'm an artist too. And I respect the part of being an actor is you have to be authentically in the moment emotionally. That's the hard part of being an actor. It's why most people can't do it. Right. But part of the craft is disciplining it. Feel the intensity, the emotions, channel them into the work. Do not punch the wall, right? That's not how you channel that. Now, look, this 10 years later, he's a very, very successul guy. This was beginning early in his career. This was his first big break. He'd done small stuff in Gossip Girl, and then this was his first lead on a show, right? And then he went off to become, the Winter Soldier and everything else. But that was really this thing. I was like, first of all, why am I giving this guy love life advice? Like, I'm the least competent person to give Sebastian Stan romantic advice. And then I'm like, well, what do I do? Because now I got to call the showrunner. I'm like, hey boss, so we're gonna have to figure out a new schedule because Sebastian's going to the hospital and we're gonna have to film other stuff. we gotta. I mean, and I'm supposed to be there and make sure that something like I didn't expect that to happen, right? And so
Right.
that's a little behind the scenes story with me and Sebastian. So God bless him.
No, it's a great story. We
Cool.
love hearing this
I
stuff.
love
mean,
that.
I watched that. I think I watched that part of that series, and correct me if I'm wrong, but there's a scene where like there's some mythology about a crown and these, I guess, is it butterflies
Yes.
that
was the symbolism.
form a crown, and Ian McShane is kind of like watching. Ian McShane's character is watching it, and he's like so mystified. But it is actually very interesting because the character's response to this, he doesn't understand, but anybody else would be like, oh my gosh, that's a huge sign, like that's a big deal. And I really liked that. That
was the pilot. That was the end of the pilot, because in the pilot, Ian McShane is the king of this land. It's based on the story of David from the Bible, and essentially how David overthrows Saul, the first king of Israel. And so he is King Silas, and he's got this young soldier who basically is a war hero who he brings in as the David character. And and he's been telling he loves telling the story to his family and to his followers about how he was crowned by God when this swarm of butterflies came on him as a young man, and he knew that was a sign that God was going to crown him king. And then the very final scene of the pilot is he's brought this young war soldier in, handsome guy. His daughter's kind of got a thing for him, right? And all this is like, I've sort of adopted this new son into my family. And then he turns, he looks in the garden, and the guy's just standing there, and all these butterflies start swarming around him because he will be the future king who's going to overthrow him. And the look on Ian McShane's face, and Ian's an obviously incredible actor, right? And so I have lots of interesting stories with him, because he and I, we would, during lunch breaks, he would largely sit alone because people were afraid to sit with him. You go out to the lunch area when cut, everyone, the crafty car is there, and it's just you're all hanging out, right? But people were really afraid to sit next to him because he's such an imposing figure. And I would go and sit with him at the lunch table and just chat with him. And it was really interesting. We'd have a lot of political discussions.
Did he ever call you a cocksucker?
No, he's much too gracious. That was a character he was playing.
I know, but I think it would be like, I would be like, oh my God, Ian McShane called me a cocksucker.
He's very genteel British, right?
God.
So he's very elegant and all that. So and the last thing I'm going to say about all that, and we can talk about all these fun things, is I have to thank Sebastian for one thing, because he did actually pay, despite the fact that I gave him advice that didn't help him romantically, he helped me romantically, because at the time I was in New York and I was dating this lovely Romanian girl that I met in New York. And Sebastian is Romanian, as in he was born in Romania.
Yeah.
He came here when he was 10 years old. And so I invited her to set because I want to show off. I'm a producer dude, and I want to bring this hot girl to set, whatever. It's just whatever. So I'm there, and and she's on set, whatever. And she's just in awe because she can't believe this. She's actually on a set of a Hollywood thing, and then Sebastian just comes over to talk to me about a scene, and then I just want to hear, here's my girlfriend Natalia, and she's from Romania, and without missing a beat, he turns to her and just starts chatting her up in Romanian, and she was just blown away. She couldn't believe it. He just starts chatting her up and talking to her in Romania about what town are you from and whatever. And let's just say that scored me a lot of points. So God bless him.
I thought this story wasn't going to end well. Like he stole your girlfriend.
That's what I thought too.
For a minute,
I have a little bit more mojo than that.
And I thought it was going to be like, and I thank him for that because she turned out to be a big bitch or something like that.
She's a sweetheart. She's lovely and married. And now, 10 years later, I actually went to visit her and met her husband in Romania, their beautiful child. We had a tour of Romania with her. So she's lovely.
Nice. Before we get into this, though, I have one last thing about the 355. I do look forward to hearing what you think, Kamran, because I do realize, like, I know that it's your genre. You think they're hot, sexy women. Yeah. But, like that guy was saying, it's a dud. So I would really like to know what you think, and you are a writer, and I would like to know what you really think of it. So it's nice that you're going to be watching it and actually like with a critical eye. I want to watch it too, just to see.
Terrible's terrible. I mean, look, hot chicks can't stop a movie from being terrible, right? And so
exactly.
I'm a huge fan of historical epics. I love historical epics. I was a huge fan of the movie Elizabeth by Shekhar Kapoor, right?
I love that movie.
Yeah, and I briefly worked with him.
Good.
He's an interesting character, but then Shekhar then did a second movie with Heath Ledger, which was The Four Feathers, and I'd heard it was terrible. I was like, no, it can't be. Shekhar's a brilliant Oscar-nominated director, and Elizabeth is an incredible movie. It can't be a terrible movie, and it's Heath Ledger. And I went to see it, and it was an absolutely terrible movie. It was a piece of garbage, right? And I was like, I couldn't deny it, even though I kept wanting to like it. So whatever, it is what it is.
Okay, so I look forward to your Your thoughts.
It'll be interesting.
I'll be
Hear
honest.
what you think
And that's
about
it. We can move on to
Yeah.
Ms.
So
Marvel.
we gotta go on.
Yeah.
So stay on
My
target.
fellow Pakistanis creating problems in the world. Whatever.
Do you feel represented yet?
That's pretty
Oh.
accurate to who we are, but it's okay. But we're smart. For the Muslim world, we figured out how to make nuclear bombs. So I mean, for all the Muslims, we're pretty smart. We made nukes, so it's okay.
Okay.
That's pretty smart. The Iranian guys also did it, but you just won't admit it. But whatever, we were honest about it.
Yeah.
They
Whatever,
got
it's okay.
they
You got a
got
couple of nukes too. It's okay.
Let's see. Tom is saying we should probably catch up with a couple of super chats.
All right, let's catch up.
Oh, okay.
We'll roll through those. We got like a nice small block here. So let's see. Not in a bad way. The great Blake and segue. So thank you guys so very much for being so generous. First of all, 535 of you guys are in here watching.
Wow.
So please do smack that like button, share the stream, let people know Toxic Femme is back and Kamran Pasha is back with us as well. So let's see. We have, hopefully I got this right. Yeah, I do got this right. So Daniel for $10. Thank you so very much, my dear. Says in 1991, when my old man complained about Sarah Connor beating up security guards, I rolled my eyes as a kid. Now that I've become the old curmudgeon, watching the 355 trailer makes me explode in laughter.
That's funny.
Sarah Connor was a lot more believable when she was doing that than these chicks in 355, but
But Sarah Connor had her journey, right?
Yeah.
I was going to say, she didn't start out the badass. She was just like, 17, 18-year-old girl in the
scared
first
out of
movie.
her.
She was so
Scared out of her
scared.
fucking mind. Yeah.
Yeah.
When she took out the Terminator at the end, it really was an act of heroism because she rose to the occasion, having lost everything, including the dude she hooked up with, right? Whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was like so scared too when she finally rose up to it. It was
mom
all about fear.
and all of that.
I think the moment that really kind of signifies her change is in the shift in that movie is when she grabs Kreese and she's like, "Get on your feet, soldier," and she just has to start, fake it till you make it kind of thing at that moment. Like, she just takes charge. Yeah, and that's kind of the moment she becomes a different person.
Yeah, and then good. And Sarah, I mean, the thing is, and Jim Cameron set this up perfectly, that scene, because where do we see her? She's lifting, she's lifting herself. She's doing pull-ups, right? In the asylum thing, right? We're seeing her incredibly toned arms, whatever. This ain't the waitress we saw, a few years back. So he set it up perfectly. We know she's got a kid now. It's been 12 years or something, and she's got a destiny. She's got to protect this kid. She's got to make him a warrior and all that stuff. She can't be waitress chick. She's been doing like judo and stuff for 12 years down in Mexico. She's good.
Yeah. So Nina, we have a primer for $5.
Yes, primer. Thank you so much for the $5. Says, I remember the 355 back when they were called Charlie's Angels.
Not the weird reboot. You mean the one with
like the OG?
Yes, and all
fun.
that. Okay.
I'm talking about Cheryl Ladd. Okay, Cheryl Ladd.
Well,
yeah,
Charlie's
that
Angels
one too. I like both versions actually.
I'm waiting for the 355 thing to come out too, though. Like the Charlie's Angels reboot, when everyone starts being called sexist for not liking it, because that's what's gonna happen.
Again,
that era's over. The fact that all the reviewers are coming after it means that era is over, right? And that's something.
Not necessarily all the reviewers, though. It's the people who made the movie that actually went on an attack tirade and were like the lady that directed it was like, you guys are all sexist for not liking my movie.
Oh, well, you're talking about Charlie's Angels, but 355, that's not going to happen. They're just going to they're going to take the L. They're going to take the L and move on.
I hope so.
Yeah.
And John Apocalypse for a £2 super chat. Thank you so much, John Apocalypse. 355 has a very FU is January energy.
Yeah. Well, January is sort of where you dump movies. January and February is where you dump the movies you don't care about, right? You don't think they're going to make any money. You're just trying to amortize your costs. That's all.
Oh, really?
Especially after Christmas.
It used to be, but in more recent years, it's kind of changed. Like horror movies have kind of took over January, and then since like you had Black Panther and Deadpool in February, those have become hot spots too. So
speaking of horror movies, Scream 4 is coming out soon, right?
Yeah. But that actually had advertisement.
It did.
Unlike this one.
You know what Scream 4 is? It's basically they kill all the people of color.
Five.
That's what they do. They kill all the minorities. That's because you have the white people and you have a bunch of minorities to liven up the franchise. And these are all the cannon fodder. They're all going to get killed. Sydney Bristow ain't going to get killed, right? There's going to be this brown guy and this Latina chick and whatever. They're all going to get killed. So it's like, okay. Right.
Maybe they'll subvert your expectation and kill Nev Campbell. Would you be happy with that?
No, because
No, Dewey's gonna
One
get it
of
because he's
them's
too
gotta
white
die.
male.
One
It's
of-
gonna
yeah,
be Dewey because
it's
he's too
probably gonna
white
be
male.
Dewey.
No,
I can't
too white
wait.
male.
I can't wait to see.
No, it's not gonna be Dewey. No way.
It should
No.
be.
I have a special place in my heart for Nev Campbell after Wild Things, which I think is a highly underrated cinematic experience.
It's a great film.
It'll
Courtney
be
Cox
Dewey
Dewey
because
because
can't
he's
get
too
killed
white
though. I'm
male.
sorry. I'm sorry. My girl Courtney Cox. They cannot take her out. Sorry. Nah.
Mm-mm.
They
Am I
do.
not
I'm
coming
gonna
through here?
freaking
Hello?
riot.
Look,
You are.
Oh, okay.
I hear you.
Okay.
it's gonna be white people are gonna be left alive. I'm telling you. I mean, that's how it's gonna be. It's just gonna kill all the brown people, and that's it. And Hollywood gets to get it out of their system.
Maybe they'll make the brown people the murderer.
No, because
No, they're not gonna do that.
They can't do that.
Really?
No, they're not gonna do that.
They can't do that.
It'll
No,
end up being
nah.
Gail Weathers.
I would actually like that. Strangely enough,
That would be
Jason
fun.
Bring
Milton.
Drew Barrymore back. We discover her twin sister coming back. Wouldn't that be?
Yeah, that'd be dope.
Don't
I
write this
would love
movie
that.
for him, Cameron.
Yeah, I mean,
That
that's
would
what I
be
would
dumb
do.
as
If Williamson came to me, I was like, dude, just bring Drew Barrymore's twin sister from us, like a soap opera, the twin sister we never knew, right?
Dude, they should
Mm.
do that. That's funny.
I would actually watch that. I'll admit it.
wouldn't
Jason
that
Milton for $20. Thank you so very much, my dear, for that generous super chat. Shia LOL is my funny avatar. I like it. But ladies, what are you all looking forward for? Echo, Agatha, Ms. Marvel, or The Marvels? Which is now going to be reshot because of wokeness? Tom and 411 ladies, do you think things are changing for the MCU films? I'm not looking forward to any of those.
Yeah, I'm not looking forward to any of those either.
I'm not interested in it. Do I think things are changing for MCU films? I don't know. I'm a wait and see attitude type of person because what I've been seeing, I'm not too impressed, but my expectations could be subverted. But I'm kind of just wait and see right now.
Well, hopefully before I take off today, we'll be able to talk a little bit about Bob Chapek's little public memo.
Yes, the monthly staff meeting now.
It's time to stop fighting the audience. I mean, that was a very, we'll get to it, but that's some very specific choice of language. It's not just because they all say pablum about we believe, we got to follow the audience. This one is more about let's stop fighting the audience. Let's stop resisting the audience. That was a very unusual commandment, and we'll talk about it when we get to that.
Yes,
that's definitely a commandment to Feige and to the Lucasfilm Flying Monkeys. So we're going to see how that plays out. But that's definitely coming from the top, with Moses and the tablet. So
yeah, it's very direct.
I love you, Comra, but you know how I feel about it. Hell no, MCU is not getting improved. I'm telling you right now. Spider-Man was a one-off. It's going to be trash.
That will be a safe position for another year because we're going to watch all the stuff that's been put through on the train for the past couple of years. I think a year at the end of this year, it will not be as safe a guess because new things will start being put on new tracks.
It'll be interesting to see.
Yeah, we'll wait and see. We'll see what happens.
Yeah. Nina, this is you. Hillis Mallory.
Hillis Mallory says, my eyes.
Oh, that must be for the 4 chicks.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I gotcha. We have Raven's Journey for $4.99.
Yes. Let's see. Sorry, just 1 second. Oh, there it is. Okay. Raven's Journey for $4.99. Thank you so much, Raven's Journey. Remember La Femme Nikita and the Nikita reboot?
Yeah.
Now that was sexy and the women still kicked ass. And yes, it was incredible. And if you liked those, you like the Protege. They're still making stuff like that. So yes. That's how it's supposed to be done.
Sorry, guys. I was touching something out of business.
It's all good. It's all good.
It's all good. That's how it's supposed to be done. We need to have some kind of sex appeal in these films like this, with these thrillers, because without it, it's like we're going back to the 1960s where, there is no kind of sex appeal, a mature sex appeal. And I can tell you that with The Protege, that's what we were given, a realistic scenario of two people who are attracted to each other. And they're like, I'm not going to ignore this attraction. I'm going to go for it. It had a Nikita feel. So if you like Nikita, go ahead and watch The Protege and come back and let us know what you think.
There's another one I actually really do want to watch as well. This is not like it's actually not a sexual one per se, but it's like it is about an assassin, a female assassin though, and a male mentor, which is I think it's called Hannah. And it's like they have a series for it now, and I want to watch
really
that
good.
series.
I didn't watch the series. The movie was really good.
I love the guy that's in it, Joe Kinnaman. I love him, so I really want to watch Hannah. So
I liked him in the first season of Altered Carbon.
Me too.
And he was also in that series. Was it called The Killing?
I love that show.
He was good in that. So he's super sexy in Altered Carbon. So if you like yourself, Superman, you got to go and watch that one because it's really nice.
Well, my friends Adam Lash and Corey Yoshida, who I worked with on Roswell, who are good friends of mine, they worked on Altered Carbon. So maybe I can get you an introduction. I don't know.
Oh my God, Conrad, can you please somehow make that happen? Because my God, that guy is so amazing.
It's getting hot in here, Cameron.
It's all good.
Well, let's see. We have Adam Wofford for $5. Thank you so very much. 355 looks like Pure Flix decided to make a James Bond movie with an all-female spy movie, but couldn't sexy it up too much.
Yeah, because I mean, again, I'm sure this was being made still with some idiot saying, women having sex is somehow degrading to them, I guess. I mean, which is kind of the vibe of this dumb new Bond movie where he doesn't bang like the hot.
But that's what I mean by intersectional feminism. That's what intersectional feminism is.
Somebody said in the chat they saw this trailer like 2 years ago. Was this one of those movies that got delayed because of the coup? So then that's another reason why it probably is the way it is.
Yeah, it's definitely deep in the midst of when they're all saying that's right. Yeah,
ooh, that makes even more sense then.
Yeah, it's still horrible.
You realize the new Bond movie is the only movie where he doesn't do the I sleep with the bad Bond girl and I sleep with the good Bond girl. Because he only sleeps with the good Bond girl because he's such a committed guy and he's got a child with her. He can't even sleep with the hot Latina chick in Cuba, even though he's broken up with his girl, and it's like years later and he's alone. So
and he's all like, I love her too much to bang anyone else.
I'm so glad I didn't see this.
It's part of his job to get it on with people. This is part of what the job calls.
That's what he does, right?
Well, the books are very clear. The books, Ian Fleming is very clear. Bond is a very psychologically damaged person in the book. He is a killer because it's clear in the books. He's very damaged. His attitude towards women is damaged, particularly after what happened in Casino Royale, where he was betrayed. And that sex to him is like an act of violence for him. It's clear in the books, right? It's a way he releases some of his issues. Killing releases some of his issues, and having sex with beautiful women releases some of his issues. That's what makes him so interesting. Is he's a screwed up guy, and that's why he's so good at his job.
Exactly.
Jason Milton, thank you so much for the $5. Says 355 movie 2 men equals Valar Morghulis. All men must die. To me, that's why I didn't watch it. I love Kill Bill and Mr. and Mrs. Smith, but this movie too woke for me. I love Kill Bill. Mr. and Mrs. Smith, I was like, about. I didn't love it too much.
I laughed a lot through Mr. and Mrs. Smith.
I thought the original Mr. and Mrs. Smith was way better than the remake with Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie. I didn't like that one.
See, I've never seen the original.
The original was really good.
I'll have to check that out because that was actually pretty cool.
And Cesario Japan, for $2 super chat. Thank you, Cesario Japan. Japan Anime did 355 better in 009-1.
Oh, that's interesting.
That's going to have to go on the pile too.
Yeah, we're gonna have to put that on the list.
Yes. Willie Woodward, thank you so much for the member chat.
Hey,
The
Willie.
member for 7 months. Happy New Year, my dear. Says hello, Tom, lovely ladies, and seer of steel, the mighty comrade.
How you doing?
Hope you've all had a nice holiday. Much love to you all. Also,
you.
what up, chat? Hope all is well. Check out these ladies' channels. Well,
Mhm.
thank you
Aw.
so much, Willie.
Thanks,
Good to
Willie.
see
Good to
you.
see you. Really good to see you. And then we had Mark Ashmead.
Mark
Ashmead?
Ashamed.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I can't read
You're
tonight.
welcome, Sylvan.
For $5, thank you so much. Says the woke can't go broke because they're being bailed out by BlackRock ESG credit scores. Oh,
Like the social credit,
Yeah,
Oh.
I'm,
the credit system.
no, I'm not so sure that's where we are right now. I mean, I'm of the opinion that too many factors, especially over the last 18 months, have made the economics of continuing the communist subversion tactic untenable. That's
well,
my
I listen. I could tell you this. No matter what, at the end of the day, Spider-Man made a fuck ton of money,
Mhm.
and
Oh, heck yeah.
And
it
everyone
wasn't
sees that.
woke.
Yeah.
And everyone's seeing it. So no matter what, like no matter who you are, no matter what studio you're in, it doesn't have to be Marvel. It doesn't have to be, Sony, whatever,
No.
whoever. All the studios know how much money this movie made, and
In a pandemic.
in a pandemic, and yeah,
Pandemic, yo.
without China dollars.
Yes.
Without China dollars.
Without China box office.
Yeah.
But comrade, I swear we must be like mind linked or something. Because as soon as I saw this article come out, that's where you're like, hey, can I come on and talk about the
Yeah, because I wrote a really long
reshoot?
piece on my Patreon about this stuff. So yeah,
Mm-hmm.
Really long?
no, well, it's long enough, and I wrote it.
Yeah. Because you did
Did you
predict
just
it
ask
was
him
gonna
how
be-
long it was?
I just said it was really long.
Phrase.
No. She's a married woman.
Well, you
God,
did.
this is why I miss
predict.
Mandy. God damn it.
Where is she, by the way? Is she okay? She good?
Yeah,
She's
she's
taking
great.
some
She's
family
great.
time,
Family
yeah.
stuff.
just some
Family stuff.
Okay.
Family stuff. As soon as she can get back, she's gonna
Mhm.
she's gonna get back. But Miss Marvel, you did predict that they were gonna be doing
Mhm.
reshoots on this.
You
and
did.
Another
not
prediction
the
on
normal
Midnight's
one.
Edge comes true.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, I wrote a piece in Patreon back in November because I had a friend who knows a lot of what's happening on Ms. Marvel, told me some really interesting intel. This was when it started appearing in some of the fan, articles and comic book type of website saying, hey, where's Ms. Marvel? Oh, it looks like it's delayed till next year. Wasn't supposed to be released this year, right? And it was very quietly delayed along with a lot of these other things, right? But there was never it wasn't like, it's going to be released like Doctor Strange 1 month ahead. It's just, we'll put it out soon, right? And I know that this show has been in the can since like February of 2021. It's been in the can for almost a year, right? It's edited, it's finished, it's done. So why aren't they releasing it? So a friend of mine at that time in November told me that, oh, you have no idea how bad the situation is there. Because I actually have several young writers that I mentored who were writers on the show, and they weren't high-level writers. They just kept their heads down, did their job, and they weren't the ones that actually gave me this. So if anyone's watching, don't fire them. I mean, other people involved with the production told me what happened. But one of the things they revealed to me was that the show was in real chaos from the beginning. The pilot was apparently terrible. They had brought on those two guys that I've mentioned before, Adil and Bilal, who did Bad Boys for Life and are doing Batgirl. They had brought them on because then they're like, well, show about a Muslim girl. We're going to bring these two Muslim directors, on because, now they're like, we gotta have the person of the same group in the group, right? And so they brought him on, and the guy said, "What is this crap?" And they read the pilot, like, "All right, we'll do this, but you have to rewrite it." And they gave their notes, and then they went off to go film some movie. They came back and they showed up to start pre-production on the pilot, and they were given the script, which was essentially the same script that they had said no to. And they're like, "What is this crap?" And apparently they threatened to walk off the show unless their changes were implemented. They were that upset. And so that's when they sort of scrambled and they did it. But there's been a lot of other chaos apparently. And the end result is it was a bad show. It was apparently a bad show. And they know that it speaks for itself. They haven't released it in a year. They haven't. They're just like, what do we do with it, right? And so when the word came out that apparently he's being pushed to sometime in 2022, I said, and I predicted here on this channel, I said, well, that's because they're desperately going to reshoot this thing and try to fix it, especially with Chapek saying, what he has now publicly said, we've got to be oriented to the audience. They can't put this thing on there and be total garbage. We can say that some of the stuff that they're putting on there isn't that great, but obviously it's so below the standard of the current MCU shows, which we can say aren't that high anyway, that they couldn't put it out there, right? And so now, this weekend, it started coming out that they're apparently doing major reshoots this month. I think they're just going to redo this whole damn show, and they're going to go in and tear this thing apart, because that's what they've been trying to figure out for the last year, is how do we fix this thing? Because they actually can't put it on the air, whatever they've got. So, which is actually a good sign. It's a good sign. I mean, the fact that they could, the reason I think it's a good sign is that for me, this entire project has been sort of the bigotry of low expectations, right? We have a Pakistani superhero girl, so we don't need to do anything on that. We don't need to put good writers in it. We don't need to have this well done, because it's just brown people are going to watch this. A billion Muslims are going to watch this just because it's Muslim superhero, right? And and that's not, and again, bigotry of low expectations. So they didn't bother to do a good show. And the very fact, if it was just the old school thinking of bigotry of low expectations, they would put this out there and then it would fail. And they would say, well, I guess people don't want brown people shows. Guess we're not going to do more of those, right? That's sort of the subconscious motivation of doing this kind of stuff badly, always, right? But the fact that they're actually going in and tearing it apart and rewriting it and redoing it suggests to me somewhere someone is saying, no, you actually have to fix this damn thing. Right, we're actually not going to put something that's total garbage. Maybe it'll be 50% garbage when we get it, but it's total garbage now, apparently. So that's
you actually answered a question I had the other day. I couldn't remember when they finished filming this. If they finished filming this over a year ago, then I think you're spot on. Like that. Why the fuck were they sitting on it for a year? And then now all of a sudden after Spider-Man, now they're doing extensive reshoots?
Exactly, because I was just looking at some of the images of that was leaked from her. The thing is that this, I don't think this girl is being uglified the way like Supergirl's, like Supergirl or Super. It's not
Supergirl.
Supergirl, yeah.
that
Supergirl, yeah.
way that they showed
Like
her.
Supergirl was uglified, and the other girl, I forget what the other girl was. She was uglified, but she seems the Ms. Marvel. No, it wasn't Ms. Marvel. It was somebody else. But she seems to be like, she looks pretty okay, like in terms of like what the character's costume actually looks like, which is basically like it's pretty like costume. Like it's pretty.
It's like cosplay. It looks good.
Yeah, it looks good. Like it's not like a
accurate.
big deal. It's a comic book accurate costume.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's one of those instances where the girl like doesn't look like her character and they're like, okay, let's go back to the drawing board. Kind of like it was with, I think like similar things have happened with like the CW shows, like for example with Bubbles and
Batwoman that was badly done.
That one had a terrible script though, but that's the thing. I think this has to do with like script. It seems like it has to do with script, and it seems like it has to do with we saw how much money Spider-Man made, and maybe we should make some changes because this is extremely woke, maybe, and we need to like not be as woke. I don't know.
Or maybe just with what was I'm sorry, go ahead, Tom.
I was just gonna say, outside of Marvel stuff, Brie Larson hasn't worked in like the last 3 years.
That's not true. That's not true because
what else has she been in?
Didn't she come out with like yeah, she did commercials. Didn't she come out with a couple of movies on Netflix? Like she did like that weird unicorn movie with like Samuel Jackson.
Yeah,
that's the old thing that was released. Okay.
Yeah, she hasn't done like anything.
She has not done anything since Captain Marvel outside of Marvel shit.
Because she misplayed how you play that game. And again, I'm going to be very careful I say this. When she hitched her star to Kevin Feige, she misplayed that angle. And we'll just leave it at that, because you can play that angle much better, and you jump to the next guy and the next guy.
Oh, she's got a TV series that's been announced called Lessons in Chemistry.
That's not the CIA one, because I think that one's dead. There was a CIA.
I don't know. It just says it's announced. It doesn't say anything.
Well, there was a CIA one because I was up for a job on it, and and I was like, crap, because I actually communicated with the showrunner. We had some email exchanges like, crap, if she does any YouTube searches about me and Brie Larson, I'm not gonna get this job. I'm gonna be
no. It says a drama set in the 1960s. Elizabeth Zott's dream of being a scientist is put on hold when she finds herself pregnant, alone, and fired from her lab. That's
and then she's
what
like
it's
trapped in a
called.
building for 10
That
years.
does not even sound interesting.
That sounds like woke
whatsoever.
was shook up and threw itself up into a script.
That's
Is
what
that
it
on
says.
Lifetime? Because that sounds like a Lifetime.
I don't know.
kind
It,
of
it
does
just
sound like
says
a
TV
Lifetime
series
film.
announced.
Kind
It
of
doesn't really.
does. I want to say,
Mhm.
do you think that maybe part of the reason why they're going back and doing these extensive
Mhm.
reshoots has to do with how Hawkeye pretty much underperformed and
I'm
Loki
s-
before that?
Well, I think they knew. I mean, as
I
we
don't
tell with
know.
Tom, this thing's been. I know this has been finished for almost a year. I mean, I know because I have friends who worked on it. They went on to other shows, right? So I know they were done like in February of this previous year, right? And so it's they haven't released it all this time means they knew something was terribly wrong. I think the other factors and just the overall politics of Disney forced their hand to do something, especially with the changing of the regime. Mr. Iger's gone, so whatever Mr. Iger's buddies were no longer there to protect you, and like if you got to make this thing, you got to do it right. Especially when they saw that everything that was happening with let's go back and fix Indiana Jones, let's go fix all this, let's go fix Doctor Strange. They're like, all right, we're gonna have to fix this whole damn thing. Might as well do it.
Just a quick another quick side note about Brie.
Yeah.
I'm sorry because I was looking at her IMDb. It says like she's got like a thing for Shang-Chi, but it says uncredited. I'm like, then why is it like on her IMDb page if it's uncredited? Like, I don't even understand this.
Well, I don't know. Oh, she's had something on Shang-Chi, but she wasn't in the movie. I don't get it.
I don't get it.
Maybe
Why
they
is
credited her.
Why?
Was there a voiceover or some voice?
Did she just show up or something? Or
Sometimes
but it
they-
says,
extra or
but it
something?
In the
says
end credit scene, I
uncredited.
think. Yeah, I think she was in the end credit scene, if I
Yeah.
remember right.
So then,
Oh,
I
okay.
totally didn't
I
even
just wanna
see
make a
her. I
reference.
just
Someone in someone in the
wait, yeah,
chat.
she was in there.
I'm sorry. I'm trying.
No, I just remembered that she was. I think my brain just erased her from existence because I didn't want to see her.
Well,
But
you know,
she
I
did
wanna-
appear in it.
I
Yeah.
want to make a reference to something else that's linked to this Miss Marvel, right? Because Ms. Marvel has been pushed the last few years. Oh, this Muslim heroine, blah blah blah, identity politics, and
Right.
Pat Finch in the chat brought this up, and there was actually a hugely successful comic series worldwide in the Muslim world, in particular, called the 99, which was a massively successful series of Muslim superheroes that was all over the Middle East, and each of them had, because in the Quran there's 99 names of God, the merciful, the compassionate, all these different names, right? That represent an attribute of God. And so each of these superheroes had one of those attributes and the power that came with it, right? So it was massively successful. And the reason I bring this up is that about 7 or 8 years ago, there was going to be, in fact, there was shot a Hollywood adaptation of the 99. I don't remember. I think it was coming on Disney. It might have been on Nickelodeon, but it was it was going to come on as this animated show. I talked to the writers of it. I talked to the showrunner of it, and they filmed the show. They had the scripts ready to go, and it got pulled. And the reason it never got on the air and you've never heard of it is that basically this really radical group of anti-Muslim activists from the right. So all of you guys were like, Cameron, also my politics, that I'm pretty conservative. A group of people, in the right came out and said, this is supporting Islamism and Muslim Brotherhood and Islamic fanaticism. And you can't have in America a comic book series with these characters. And they did this whole campaign in Hollywood that ended up, Hollywood just pulled the plug on it. It never got on the air. And I talked to the showrunner of it. He was a nice Jewish guy. He wasn't Muslim. He's a nice Jewish guy, very successful animated guy. Yeah. And I talked to him on the phone, and his heart was broken. He said this was going to change everything. And we threw our hearts into this, and the industry pulled it from pressure from people that are just frankly bigots. Right. And so all of you guys are out there who are grumbling about Muslim representation. We don't, a lot of you guys also pulled a really good show. So I would be cautious about some of your grumbling, because the critique that the left gives of you, that it's coming from a place of bigotry, sometimes that's actually true. Sometimes it's not about we want good storytelling and not representation. Sometimes you guys actually just don't want something that's outside your paradigm, and that's not healthy for storytelling.
So very well said.
I want to present that.
Very well said. Anything else to say about Ms. Marvel?
I was going to say, I mean, a lot of people are asking things in the chat about how is this like signs that Marvel's on the shift? Is it going the other way? I think this is probably a good place to segue into the Bob Chapek article.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is exactly where I was going.
Yeah,
Just wanted to get some final thoughts before we.
I mean, I don't want it to suck. I just don't want it to suck. I don't want it to suck because I would be nice if a major Muslim character is actually not sucks and people could actually enjoy it, because some people really like the first few issues of the comic and didn't like the direction it later took.
Yeah.
You know, and so it's not like that I will tell you, this creator of this, there were two women who created this character. One was a devout Muslim, she was like a white convert, and the other was a Pakistani girl who's sort of this woke millennial, right? And so it seems that was the struggle of the show. You had someone who's authentically of the tradition, actually had embraced it from another culture, and somebody who was like bringing this leftist sort of millennial crap into this culture. So that's the struggle of this entire property, even as a comic, is he had these two voices.
Right.
And I also wonder whether with these extensive reshoots, whether it's going to be also extensive restructuring of the people who are handling these shows now, where it's not going to be sort of like they're hiring people who don't have the experience to do these shows, which are complicated. And, you know, we'll end up with people who are qualified for this, people with experience, and, you know, people who aren't afraid to say, yeah, this is not going to work, and kind of be a little bit more defiant so that it does become a success.
Well, I just want to refer to that before we jump to this Bob Chapek thing, because I had specific thing, but yes, I'm sorry, Nina, you want to say something?
Yeah, I just have a little bit of a question, because when you're talking about like her being a first Muslim superhero, I don't know why I have a little bit of a I just have a little bit of an issue with that, because I feel like that's been the focus, like, you know, like, and that's I feel like that's actually the problem, is that we're constantly like, you know, oh, the first this and the first that, and it's like, who cares if she's a Muslim or a Christian or a Buddhist, or like what like, who gives a fuck? Because is she a superhero?
Who gives a fuck? The people who canceled the 99 give a fuck. They're the ones who allowed me to get that show.
You're talking, but this is what I'm talking about. We're talking about like, you know, you're talking about a group of people that are it's not like I'm trying to say like their views don't matter or anything like that, but we're talking about like this is what we have the discussion about Spider-Man and Superman and all these different heroes being heroes that we identified with without having to be part of the religion or part of their you know, having that kind of identity, like how I identified with Spider-Man and Peter Parker, because I liked Spider-Man and his struggle. It had nothing to do with him being a Christian man. Like, it has, I don't know if you know what I'm saying. Like, it feels so weird. That is so important to you.
Well, it's not important. It's just you can't ignore it. It's like saying you have Black Panther come out and say we don't want to talk about the fact that they're
Thank
black.
you, and that's exactly what I was going to bring up.
It's just, it is what it is, right?
I think when people sometimes get triggered when this comes up, where it's like it's the first whatever, and it's kind of like, why is there such an emphasis being on this is the first whatever? Because it is a big deal. It is a big deal to a certain group of people. Is it absolutely everything about the character? Absolutely not. But you cannot underestimate how much of an impact that is. So it's kind of like the whole thing with people saying, I don't see color. That's crap. God gave you eyes. You will see color. It's when you judge someone based on that, that's the issue. So you can see that they're the first whatever. And that is important because it does exist, but it's not going to be everything.
And all of our communities have different historical experiences. Being a Pakistani girl in Queens is different than being, you know, a Mexican American in California, or being some, you know, a white kid in Idaho. It's just, they all have different experiences. The challenge we're having is, because the woke have hijacked this conversation, is that we're not actually able to add the wonderful benefit of a perspective of a Pakistani teenage girl in New York City without someone adding all this other political crap. Like on my Patreon, a woman said to me that I love the early issues of Ms. Marvel because I identified with her. She was my kind of teenage girl. The character was into the mangas and things that I was into. And then later it began to become more and more politics and blah, blah, blah. And then I stopped identifying with it. But that's where, again, that woke stuff gets on top of it. But when it comes to Islam, it is impossible, especially, I mean, I grew up my whole life with the only characters you have are the villains, right? They blow up to airplanes or whatever. And especially
I mean, I grew up the same time too. I understand. I just think like, I think it's actually going against what you wanted to do right now, to be completely honest with you, because I think it's having the opposite effect. I think that when you come out and say things like, you know, it's the first Muslim superhero, or it's the first lesbian kiss, or it's the first fucking whatever. People are like, a lot of people now have the actual, like, the adverse effect of like, I don't, oh God, another first this. Like, I really
but
don't
you can't.
care.
But how can you ignore it? I mean, when you have the first lesbian kiss, I remember the first lesbian kiss. It was on LA Law. I remember watching it on TV. I was like, oh crap, these two.
Oh, there's an argument to be had there, Kamran, because it wasn't like, for a lot of other shows, it wasn't the first lesbian kiss. And you had the first lesbian kiss in Star Trek. Then you had the first lesbian kiss in like this other show, and then there's this show, and this is
and then you had well, it's just like the same thing with Star Trek when they're like, you know, oh, Mikey Spock and this and Mikey Spock that. It's like, yeah, let's just shit all over Nichelle Nichols fucking, you know,
well, because it wasn't something that was new
to the table in the original, right? And that's the thing is, anybody who's younger or older than 20 had lived through this shit, and they know we've already done this, been there, did that. This is nothing new. We lived through the 80s and 90s. Hell, Rocky Horror Picture Show came out in 1975. People like act like this shit is new. It's like, no, we've been there already. We've done this. People
so that's the critique. But the critique, think about this. When Nichelle Nichols kissed, you know, William Shatner, first interracial kiss, it's worthy of comment that it's the first interracial kiss on television. You can't not comment on it. Exactly. The problem we're having is now we're having these 4 generations or 3 generations later, these morons who are picking up on this and proclaiming everything is the first, right? In this case, Ms. Marvel wasn't the first because the 99 was the first, but then a group of political activists in Hollywood scuttled the project, right? So
the other difference is, first of all, Cameron, I think the biggest difference of all this is the Nichelle Nichols, I almost called him Kirk, William Shatner kiss was a bigger deal because they actually had to fucking fight for it. None of these people have to fight for any of this shit. It's being given to them on a silver fucking platter. Right.
It's like this, for example, with me, like I watched The Expanse, right? I like that show. I love Ava Sarala, the character. I think she's fucking awesome. And she's played by a Persian woman who I love. I think she's amazing. I love Shohreh. I think she's a great actress. And I know that she's got that Persian accent. It's very fluent in The Expanse, but I'm not watching it because I'm like, oh, it's constantly like, oh, the first female Persian actress in a sci-fi series. Like, you know, I don't care. It's nice to see that she has that opportunity.
She had her break already. She had her break in the House of Sand and Fog, right?
But that's not my point though, Conrad. Because if they had marketed to me that this is the first female sci-fi Persian person in sci-fi, I would be like, okay, like I don't really care.
Does her being Persian in any way impact that character in any way? No, right? It's just a character. It's like my boss, Ira Stephen Bear, actually had the first Muslim in Star Trek, you know, was Dr. Bashir. Dr. Bashir was Sudanese.
Yes.
Never ever brought up. It was never brought up. He's religion or culture. So great. Okay, wonderful. But he's just another dude. He's just another dude on the thing. But to be fair, and I think the actor is wonderful, you never actually got to see anything, to my memory, of his uniqueness. He's just a doctor. He was a very handsome doctor. And I mean,
extremely
this
handsome
doctor in the 24th century. I'm sure there's something unique. So that I think wasn't necessarily best for that character. That's interesting. I don't think that benefited anybody to have this. It just means that none of us have our distinct identity in the 24th century. I don't think that's true either. That's
especially
not
for a show like DS9, which was very unique. And
see, I didn't mind that. I identify
that would have been the show to do that.
But look at it in Roddenberry, in the original show. All of their uniqueness, you know, you had Chekhov being Russian with his heavy Russian accent. You had Uhura who was African. She was part of sort of the Pan-African, you know, nation that existed at
the Union.
Exactly. The Union. That was owned. Everyone owned. You got a Japanese dude, and yet at the same time, you then had this period where you could have an Arab guy on, but he was 8 years on the show. No one ever knew he was an Arab guy. I mean, and that's not a necessarily great storytelling either, because Roddenberry would have brought out something distinct about him, because we all are. I'm distinct. And a Pakistani superhero is distinct from a black superhero in Africa and from a blind dude running around New York, right? Kicking ass. She is distinct because she's human and she's got to deal with parents that don't want her dating. That's not necessarily.
I just feel like she should be a superhero who is a Muslim, not a Muslim that's a superhero. I don't know if you understand what I'm saying.
that's how it was initially envisioned. And of course, as I mentioned, there's two women created this character. And so they had this tension of a woman who had white woman who had adopted Islam as her identity. And so she wanted to bring aspects of just authenticity. And you had somebody who wanted to bring in their woke sort of, I'm a 39-year-old unmarried Pakistani woman, which is not normal and common in our culture. She wanted to bring that thing in there, right? And so you had this struggle, which didn't help anybody. And the end result is the comic didn't do as well as it could have, and the show is a chaos.
And
they didn't hire
as
me.
well. When they made her the lead in the video game, it was like they didn't do right by her there either. It was one failure after another. And, I kind of wondered if it might have been one of the first ones where they didn't defend it and say, this is the greatest game ever made, because it really was not. I mean, there were some people who had said, well, it's new and it's groundbreaking and it's great. And it really wasn't groundbreaking or great anything about it. That was the worst part, is that that video game could have been a chance to do, because there were so many people who bought that game. It was an incredibly well-selling game initially. And I think a lot of the players were very surprised at what they received. They were not expecting her to kind of be the lead character. And it's fine if they made her the lead character, but just do right by it. Don't, you can't just go ahead and throw a character in there and not give us an actual story or
right.
Yeah.
You can't
sort
throw
of
them
incredible
in there.
moves.
You can't just like throw a character in there for character's sake. So I hope, and this is kind of the last point to make on Ms. Marvel, I really do hope that they bring up those cultural nuances and they do it correctly. Because for someone like me who isn't as familiar, that's something that I would like.
Well, they're doing it in Book of Boba Fett. I mean, they could do it for Boba Fett. Why can't they do it for Miss Marvel? I'm just saying.
And the reason is, and then we'll move on to this one, because the reason to answer that question is when Ms. Marvel was announced as a show, my agents reached out to like Marvel and said, hey, you're looking for a showrunner? You guys are doing this thing? We got Cameron Posh. He's been doing this for like 15 years at the time, right? And they're like, yeah, we know Cameron. We know who he is. Thanks anyway, right? They didn't want me because they couldn't control me, number one. They brought on board a 28-year-old girl with no credits whatsoever. She worked on a comedy show in London that they brought on, and they featured her as a showrunner. And again, I have friends who worked on the show. She had no power. She sat there going so in awe of being in the Marvel game that she did whatever they wanted. And in the end, she was there as a face. So
they just wanted a yes person.
They wanted a yes person. So that's the thing. That's if they brought me there, I would do what you're talking about, which is that's not going to work. Why do we have to make it about, why do we have Kamala Khan fighting for, these things? Why don't we have her just deal with the fact that her mom doesn't know she's a superhero and doesn't like the fact she's hanging around that boy because
exactly
right?
Yeah.
And that's not normal. Like my sister is a pretty liberal woman, but my teenage niece, she ain't dating nobody. She ain't going to the prom. It's not our culture, right? And so that's not normal for a lot of other people in her high school. That's distinct. You bring that in. How are you saving the world, but you can't date the cute boy? That's interesting. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we definitely want to see like what you're just to add to that is that we definitely want to see as they're doing these reshoots, they do have to kind of restructure and get people out of positions who are just going to cause it to be a disaster again. You have to have people with experience. You can't have people who just don't know what they're doing. And there's a lot of that. And it's across the board. And I hope that we see with that change, part of the reshoot is, okay, we had to bring some other people in here. We have to bring some people who know how to run an entire show.
And it's interesting that you mentioned that, because this article that Conrad brought to my attention, and I know
let's switch to that. Yeah,
I know Thomas to talk about that as well. But it's interesting, Bob Chapek basically laying down the law about how it's going to be with respect to handling storytelling and focusing on what the viewers or what the consumers would want. And basically to the point of basically saying that we're bringing around all the creative heads once a month to basically share ideas and best practices. That's going to be interesting when you think that Kevin Feige and the likes of Kathleen Kennedy and Pete Docter, and they're all going to be in the same meeting.
Something that's going to happen too is that they're going to notice people who don't speak up and don't have anything to say. And they're going to be like, well, why doesn't this person is in charge of a show that's costing millions of dollars, but they don't have any ideas about the direction that the show is going, or even understand why we're at this meeting, don't even know how to promote their own show that they should be proud of doing. You know, if it's somebody who doesn't have any credits to their name and they've never done a show before, you know, I think they might question that and say, well, you've never done a show before. Tell us what direction you think the show should go in. And they're just kind of look, you know, like a deer in headlights because they don't know what to say. They've never done a show before. They've never worked on a show before. You
Which
know,
is planned. I mean, that's why they're in that role. So they have no choice but to keep their mouth shut because they have nothing to add.
But they're going to start, I think, eyeballing a lot of people who are in these positions, and they're going to say, you know what, maybe next season we'll have to recast. We'll have to, you know, go back to contracts here and kind of,
if this person is adding no value to this conversation, maybe let's bring in someone like this guy who might be able to add value to this conversation, right? But you know, the most interesting thing for me in this article is the element, because he has his long memo he's given out, but he lays out what he calls the 3 pillars. And Anita knows the 5 pillars of Islam. So we got the 3 pillars of Disney, right? We got the 3 pillars of Disney. They got 2, they're down 2, but it's okay. And the 3 pillars of Disney moving forward are going to be, you know, what are they?
First, we have storytelling excellence.
Innovation, number 2, and then this is the interesting one, and a relentless focus on our audience, and that's a 3rd pillar. And what's interesting about that, because people make hot air about, well, we're here to serve our audience, blah blah. He goes out of his way. I'm going to quote what he actually said in the memo. He says, the quote is, "Our most important guide, our North Star, is the consumer. We must evolve with our audience." And here's the killer part: not work against them. There's no reason to add that clause unless people are working against the audience inside the company. And he's saying we've had enough of that. Because the standard problem you say is we're here to serve our consumer. You never say and not make the consumer unhappy unless there's morons inside your company.
Yeah, and like you're clarifying something that is like basically the opposite of what's been happening. So you want to kind of like hammer that home that this isn't like we're changing gear here.
Yeah, like not charging $6,000 for a room that just shows you videos of something that doesn't even look like what they promised to show you.
Yeah,
or better yet,
stupid to do something like that.
No, you'd be
or
surprised.
like is that kind of like a dig at Kathleen Kennedy with the forces female thing? Like I don't.
It is a dig. It is because the general audience problem you can apply across the board. It doesn't mean anything. The comment of do not work against the audience is a dig against Kathleen Kennedy. It's a dig against all those Lucasfilm flying monkey morons, Mr. Hidalgo and the rest. It's a dig against Kevin Feige, who used to care about the audience and has been working against them for at least a couple of years now, right? And it's a dig against all these clowns, the ones we have up here. Your Snoke theory sucks. So you're telling your audience you're a bunch of idiots. That's not working with the audience, right?
They have been coming after us on social media like crazy. That's the first thing I think of when I see this, how they've come at us just because how dare we not like a certain product that they're trying to shove at us.
And they can't claim ignorance because we all know that they have focus groups who come and watch this stuff before everybody else does. You know, it's not like 1 or 2 people. They might have, 10 or 15 screenings of this just to see how this goes down. And they're not listening to anybody when they're saying, gee, I really don't like that. Or, I wouldn't go and pay for this. Like just even normal questions you would say. Does this seem like a Star Wars? No, it doesn't seem like Star Wars to me. Why wouldn't you pay to go see this? Well, I don't really like what happened with it. Would you recommend it to a friend? Hell no. Like they're not listening to any of the feedback from this, from either the fans, from the studio, from anybody. So maybe this will be something now where they're going to be, instead of working against them, they're going to work with them the way they were supposed to be doing all along.
Well,
go ahead. Sorry. No, please go ahead. No, please.
Oh, okay. The only other thing that it reminds me of also is basically like kind of like Anthony Mackie's comments a few months ago when Falcon and the woke soldier dropped and everyone had a very bad reaction to it because it was so woke, and then he was saying that like he came out and said that basically what the game plan at Disney is a political message now and Marvel. So if that's the case, like if that was the case, then are they saying that we're shifting gear from that too? Like we're not like, we're focusing on
they are
storytelling first, not like this political messaging first, which was not like 6 months ago. That wasn't the case. That's what Anthony Mackie said. That's not the case over there at Disney and Marvel. But apparently now that they're switching gears, I guess. I don't know.
Well, do you know why?
My question was like, well, that was what I'm not going to answer. I'm actually going to say this is kind of what I think brought us here to the whole point was this to me is like you're putting out this memo timed with all these reshoots for Marvel and Star Wars, that can't be coincidence now.
No,
Yeah.
it's not. And I want to again focus on the use of the choices of these three pillars, right? Because the first two are your standard nonsense that you put into any one of these things, storytelling, innovation. All these guys say that because if you remember Bob Iger, and Tom, you remember this. Bob Iger was angry when people were saying, start listening to the audience. He said, we're going to protect the storytellers, which meant that we're going to give independence to people like Orion Johnson, right? And so they're all saying storytelling. And they're all claiming that we're supporting great storytelling. But when you say, but we're actually going to do that in the way the audience wants, that is a conscious shift from all these other clowns that said, you're not letting us be artists. You're not letting us make the shows we want to make. The audience doesn't get them. That's their problem, right? That's an actual shift because no one, and Iger's, they never said we're going to make the audience happy. They went out of the way to show that they didn't care what the audience thought.
And someone in the chat did mention, are they going to extend this to the parks? Are they going to extend this to the cruises? Are they going to extend it, as I mentioned, like to the hotel? Are they going to, I hope it's going to be something that's across the board. It would be great if it was something that was across the board. Are they going to extend it to their hiring practices? Are they going to extend it to those poor cast members who have been kind of dogged around over the past few years? This is something I hope that goes from the ground up in their organization, and can kind of, we can see that implementation and then look at it and say, wow, they really are serious about making changes, not just obviously in what they produce, but in the way that they run their business and treat their employees.
That is an excellent question. The way the parks are going now, I'm not quite sure.
The problem is, and I think Valiant Renegade will probably do a video on this. If you guys I know he's in the chat right now. You should watch Valiant's channel. The problem is the parks are, and all this, the parks, the cruises, all this stuff, the hotels, it's garbage that was put into effect years ago. And it takes a long time to put these things on it. And then it takes a long time to get them on another track. It's hard. You can reshoot Ms. Marvel. It's a lot harder to reshoot a whole damn hotel you built. It's going to have to work on it, rebuild the damn thing, restructure everything for the next year. You have this dumb park where we got the Millennium Falcon, but nothing else from Star Wars. Now we repurpose the whole damn thing. That's going to take a year. So that's the problem, is that the parks is the lag. You'll see the end result of this maybe 2 years, 3 years from now. A lot of people ain't going to be waiting 2 or 3 years for that. If the parks is their focus, but that's how long it's going to take.
Plus, the other thing is, folks, you have to remember is that the parks is what funds all of the films.
Yeah, a lot of the movies. Stuff. Yeah,
and all of that. And right now, Chapek really isn't at the head of the parks. It's like another guy who's in there doing. I believe it's Josh D'Amaro's doing that. So we'll see what happens, because they're in this position where the parks are what makes the money for everything else.
Will you share my screen real quick? This is what I was talking about with Anthony Mackie, because this is the kind of stuff that people are used to now. Anthony Mackie claims Disney and Marvel Studios are trying to change the way society looks at itself. These are the messages that we've been told as the audience for the past little while. And it's not just him. It's not just the actor saying this. This is very prevalent through the Marvel shows that have been happening, including his. His was probably the most. And then you had, stuff like Loki and the entire MCU, and how it's basically let's just feminize everything and just make everything femme and blah, 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 because for some reason women are better than men. I don't know why, but
there's a structural reason for why that's happening in Marvel specifically. I actually wrote them on a Patreon about this weekend. I found out, I had lunch with a friend a couple of days ago, and they told me they have a lot of friends in Marvel. They know a lot of writers that have quit the Marvel shows. And this is what they've told me. Marvel uniquely has essentially a political officer sitting inside the writer's room. They have Marvel execs. Feige sends people into the room ostensibly to make sure the stories are, well, you can't actually do that because we're going to do something different on Hawkeye. That's not going to fit that arc. That's the idea, ostensibly. But in reality, once you have an executive who's not a writer sitting there saying, no, you can't do that. No, you can't. Well, I think that's not really where we want to take the arc. You're inevitably going to have their agendas. And as we've seen under at least certain people around Feige, they have political agendas. So that's been the problem, is that these shows literally have the communist spy sitting inside in the middle, and everyone's afraid of saying the wrong thing that might get them. I worked on a show where everyone was so woke I was so careful what I said just so I keep my paycheck. I kept my
Right.
tongue because I knew the boss was waiting to find any reason to fire anybody that went against the thing. So if you know you got a member of Feige's exec sitting there, not even a writer, just sitting there watching you, like 1984, you limit your
be careful.
Yeah, and that's why we're getting these bad shows. I finally watched Hawkeye, and everyone's telling me that's the best of them. It's not a good show.
It is the best of them. I haven't seen the last 3 episodes.
That's
I'm
where
going
it gets
to.
good. That's where it gets good. Finally.
It actually picks up, but for the most part, it's
But I've seen all the other ones come around, and
that
they're
last episode is
terrible.
bullshit. I liked it till the last episode. I actually stuck up for it till that last episode. But then you got a character who they've had before is now super powered, and you got a 12-year-old girl fighting him and kicking his ass. That's bullshit. I'm sorry.
We called that when we reviewed it. We called that whole thing. We're like, that is who in what universe is that freaking believable? It's not.
It's just a tragedy because Haley Steinfeld is such a good actress. I think
she's great.
She's awesome, especially as a voice actress. She blew me away in Arcane.
She's great, just like Sebastian Stan is great. But Sebastian Stan was in Captain America and the Woke Soldier, and they did absolutely nothing with his character. He was basically just a sidekick that's, white man sorry about, everything that they've ever done guy. Like, it's just, it's not, and like all of these shows just fucking awful, man. And if this is the case, if this is all the power to, which one is this one, Bob Iger or the other one,
Cheap Cheap
dude. If you're gonna right this ship, for the love of God, write it, man. Write it. Stop. Just stop all this nonsense and write this ship. If he's gonna do it, great. All the power to him. I don't know, but
does Disney have like a mission statement somewhere? Like, do they actually have that? Like a mission statement for Walt Disney?
They do. They have a mission statement. They have all of that stuff. But also remember, there's a fifth key. It was a fifth or fourth key that they added, and that key is inclusion. Okay, which is what rolls up to all that other, woke nonsense they were talking about. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens as he can push against that, because that whole fourth key, that fifth key of diversity and inclusion and all that was put into place by Iger. So we'll see what happens.
And that's why this audience comment is an actual direct attack on that, which is that, okay, we can have diversity.
Exactly.
Can we have diversity that the audience actually wants? We can have characters. We can have a Muslim character.
And that's what we're talking about.
We can have do it in a way, like the chat says. Can we give it in a way that's entertaining and that we watch it? And
see, that's what I'm talking about. Is you can be woke, you can be progressive, but you give us some entertainment that we like and that we're actually interested in. And it's like, okay, do whatever the heck you want, just as long as you entertain us.
Yeah,
and give us what we flipping want.
Well, it's like Star Trek. We had characters that were essentially trans on Star Trek 20, 30 years ago, right?
Yes.
I don't remember anybody getting up in arms because we just went with the story. This is an alien race. These guys, they have symbiotes. They're
they're so cool how they did that. Retain their memories. And Dax was a man, and then Cisco shows up and hey, it's a woman now.
Then that was first introduced. Beverly Crusher was into this dude, and then becomes a woman, and she's like, I'm not into that, right?
Yeah.
And that's okay.
And they did it way earlier than that, even like the first season of TNG, when they had that alien race that was like the dual sex, and they can be one or the other or both at the same time, and then they were taking over the ship. I mean, they had these kind of stuff forever in Star Trek. That's why it's just so like,
and there was no preachiness to it. It was just another world, another culture.
No, if you couldn't connect the dots, they didn't hammer you for it. It's like you got it or you didn't get it. They just put it out there for you. But speaking of getting things, there's like 600 and
and I got to take off in a few minutes. So is there anyone that
in here watching? So let's see. I know there was one. I think Dark King had one, I believe. I'm like trying to find it, and I swear to God, I just saw it. Let's see. Hopefully, this is the right one where it says Dark King for $2 Australian. Thank you, Ms. Marvel fisting for justice in that picture.
Oh my God.
Okay. Well, that's okay.
That's wow. Yeah, I hadn't thought about that, but no, I guess because her hands are weapons and it
Yeah, all you dudes have Muslim fetishes. That's why there's a whole Muslim porn fetish, right? There's like the chicks will dress up in burqa and porn.
Looks like the Thanos one.
All you dudes have this fetish. I get it.
I think there's one from
Let's see.
Patrick
Is it
Mulligan.
Patrick or is one from Hillis Mallory?
How are you guys not seeing it? I've posted it twice now.
What?
Dark King, remember, 6 months. Remember for 10 months. Viking. When Uhura kissed Kirk in Star Trek, it wasn't portrayed as be all and end all of the show. It was part of the show. When you go, the first X is the only reason to tune in, it fails. Yeah, that is woke in a nutshell.
Correct.
Right?
Correct. That's the only reason to tune in. You know, when there's just an interesting character. No, like for example, if you have a show with a Japanese character, you know, like Mr. Miyagi, I'd like to. It's kind of it's normal to have Japanese elements of his life that are revealed that are interesting, but he's not there because he's a Japanese dude. He's Mr. Miyagi.
I was just looking for words with Kamran's name in it. That's why that was.
There was another one. Yeah, same thing here. There was another one that. Oh, actually, Hillis Mallory for $2. Thank you so very much, Kamran. Your thoughts on Marvel changing her powers?
Well, I understand that's part of it, is that they're giving her all kinds of powers. I mean, I'm not familiar with what the new changes are going to be. I hope that whatever the new powers are, because I know people who did like the comic didn't like some of the announced powers that she was going to have and apparently it deviated quite extensively from the comic. So hopefully they're going back and giving her powers that will satisfy those who are just purely from a storytelling. These are characters, just like Wonder Twins, you know what they can do, right? So just give them. I hope that's what they're going to do, because if they blow this wad, if they reshoot this thing and it's still not what the audience wants, then you know, whatever. I mean, then they wasted all this money for nothing. Do it right.
Cameron just said blow wad.
Yeah, I said.
Yeah, he did. He did.
I said much. What is that? Is that like two? Is that 2 PG-17?
I think it's fine.
I've never heard you be naughty like that. So.
Hey, phrasing.
I'm like, really?
Okay. Well, I guess I have. It's just
I think maybe you forgot.
Yeah.
Potty mouth. My mom gets upset about my potty mouth. She doesn't like it. I didn't raise you that way. She doesn't like that.
See.
I know she doesn't like your taste in Twitter posts.
No, she when I was kicked off of Twitter, that at least solved some family problems. So yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
I think I don't see any more for
5 said Tom should only appear in the stream on camera with the wig and going by the name Tommy or Tomette with she, her pronouns. Kamran as a guest is excused.
Yeah, well, there you go.
Okay.
And then I think there was a Joker voice one for $10. Thank you.
I like Joker voice. He always interesting comments.
Massive reshoots to quote Julie Brown, wooba wooba wooba, the MCU in trouble. Hail prolific protagonisticator Kamran. # keep talking.
Webba, downtown Julie Brown.
Right?
There you go.
And let's see, there's one from Valiant Renegade for $10. # listen to Kamran.
There you go.
Oh, well, thank you. And I'm going to be doing a stream with Valiant later tonight, which will come out this week. And people support his channel as well. He adds a lot of value to the conversation.
Did we read the Hillis Mallory one for 2? Kamran, your thoughts are?
Yeah, we did that one.
Okay.
Yeah, we did that one.
I think that's it.
That one. Yep, that's everything. Cool. Thanks so much, Kamran, for hanging out.
Well,
thank you.
Please do check out his channel, check out his Patreon. Definitely check out his Patreon.
Because a lot of these conversations we had were articles on Patreon where I go in depth and there's stuff I can say behind those closed doors that I cannot say publicly. And so I hope you join me for that. And I think the link's in there. We'll throw that in there. And Lorena has been reading my script. So when you finish it, I'll tell you what's going on with it.
Oh my God, dude.
So now we got Lorena. He's read it. Nina, I'm just going to keep shaming you, Nina.
Is it good, Lorena? Or is he just talking it up?
Oh no, it's good. It's good. I was literally gonna I sent him a screenshot, and then I was actually gonna send him another screenshot with me marking up in red, like, yes, this is where I freaking buy in. And I'm like, I'm locked in, and
we're gonna have a conversation. When
you're there you go. All right. You can share. That's okay.
I never send it to you, but I don't have your email, so I don't know how to do that. So
I can give you my email. I'll send it to you on Facebook.
I'll send you my picture. That's right.
I think
we
you
were
got
acting
it
like my picture.
accidentally,
Yeah.
actually, because I screwed up earlier.
All right. Lovely ladies, be happy and have
Love
a
you.
wonderful new year. And let's all
you.
party. Let's all get together physically.
Yes.
Party.
Yeah.
Yes, we must.
Let's speak
do
in like
that.
Cancun. By the way, I was looking into Mexico
Yes.
after Nina. I looked into like where you're on the western side of Mexico, or you're in you're not Cancun. You're the
You
other
said let's get
No, I'm in-
together
no, I'm in Cancun.
physically, Cameron.
Hey, phrasing.
Let's get
Your
physical.
mind's just going a
physical.
totally
That was a
different
good one.
direction.
Yeah, so whatever. I looked at you could buy a nice like condo in Cancun for like a couple $100,000 like on the beach. It's not bad.
Oh yeah,
All right, okay, I gotta
prices
get
here
out
are
of
great.
Pretty good.
All right. On that note, lovely ladies, everyone stay here.
Okay.
Hit the like button. and
Bye,
support people who are-
Bye.
Thanks
Love
so much for
you.
being here. Thank
Lots of love.
you. Thank you. Let's see. We have Hillis Mallory for $5. Thank you very much. Says compare 355 to the scene with Black Widow and Avengers in the warehouse in Russia. Man, what a difference. I prefer that scene much better. Much better.
Megs with a $2 super sticker of what is it? I don't know.
It is a Shiba Inu dog.
Oh, Shiba Inu doggy. Thank you.
Farting hearts.
Oh, is it the farting hearts one? Yay. Thank you,
They
man.
smell like sweet tarts. I guarantee it.
I'm trying to find where we were on the private chat. Sorry.
Let's
Okay.
see.
Okay, I got it.
Yeah, 919.
And then, I did the super sticker. So it's you.
Yes.
Mhm.
Where are we?
Should be Patrick
Mulligan.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And what time?
919.
If you want, I'll get it because I think it's directed at me anyways. So Patrick Mulligan, thank you so much for the 5. Says just watch Nina in the Lauren Southern Destiny panel debate. Hope you talk to Dee again without Brittany there. She was acting like a right-wing woke scold. I never want to talk to Destiny again. So no, thank you.
Who the heck is Destiny?
A pedo sympathizer. I'm not interested.
Never mind.
Thank
Next.
you.
Izzy Primer for a $2 super chat. Fun fact: co-writer of 355 also wrote Catwoman. Thank you, Primer,
really
for the $2.
Bad Halle Berry movie.
The W, which
the
one?
WB show.
Is it?
I don't know. I just know.
I'm
really
assuming it would be
bad.
the Halle Berry film because
that was horrible.
That wasn't great either. She looked great, but it was not.
She did. She looked hot, but that movie was hot garbage. Yeah, we read this one. Dark Kings and Miss Marvel fisting for justice in that picture.
That was great.
Going around.
That was actually pretty funny. Let's see. Christian Corleo for $5 says, if Bob Chapek is saying don't fight the audience, does that also go for the parks? They should listen to what the park goers want as much as the movie goers. Right now, it seems like with Chapek, just shut up and keep making money in the parks right now. I mean, honestly, that's what it is. They just jacked up the prices on everything in the parks, food increase, traction increases, increases in prices to get into the park. Oh, and the most interesting one, if you've seen any of Jay Drunk 3PO's video, where you get that expensive lightsaber, and they basically said, that really nice, long carrying case we used to give you to protect your lifesaver, we're not giving you that anymore. So you can either get this
sold
cheap
separately
plastic bag to take it in, or you can pay $50 and get this thing to go
separately. With. Sure.
Yeah.
That they always do that. The other thing that they can do is actually catch up with Florida law and stop doing the mask thing, because I bet you anything that like the Disney parks are losing a lot of customers to Universal because they don't have the mask thing. So I think that I think it matters to a lot of people that go to Florida, because why else would you be going to Florida? Like
it does. And just to clarify, it's not a law. Actually, it's an executive order. So when they do that, it's like you can't outright ban people for not doing that. But how it is individual businesses can make their decisions. Like, for example, there's one store that requires masks that I will not go in because I'm not doing that.
Yeah, I meant, but I didn't mean law. I meant like, just to clarify exactly what you were saying. Like, but meaning like in the Florida, it's not mandated to wear masks all the time.
That's exactly
So,
it. That's
so
exactly
that's
it.
like it would be nice if they did what Universal's doing and not mandated that and required that for their employees and their and their customers, because I think that that's hurting their tourism business.
It really is. It really is. I've heard a lot of people say that, I don't have to freaking do this at Universal.
Is it
Well,
true
at
that
least not recently, because they did have to go back to it recently. I think
is it
Okay.
true
dropped
that they
essentially.
used to have like passes for a certain period of time, like a yearly pass, and they don't have those anymore?
That is true. Because I bought my annual pass as a resident. That's like the highest one before you have to pay out of state rate.
Mhm.
And they got rid of all of them except for the lowest tiered one, where you can only, I think, have 2 reservations to get into the park. Yeah, they got rid of those.
I think I also heard that like they got rid of like the fast passes. Is that true?
Yes and no. They got rid of what's called a fast pass. They replaced it with a craptastic IT thing called Genie Plus.
Oh God, is it? It's worse, isn't it?
It's
Than the-
Disney IT, which means it's crap.
oh,
It's crap, and it's had so many flipping problems. So the fast pass you used to be able to get for free,
yeah.
not free anymore. No. Disney Plus, you're paying $15
But see,
per
this is the stuff
person, and that's not for every ride.
this is the stuff that they're doing that like makes you're like this. I hate you, Disney. Why are you doing this? It's like when they started charging for those sporks, those sporks
Mhm.
that they had at the park that everybody really liked and it was free. And then they were like, oh, people really like this. Okay, let me charge $10 for it. And it's like, and then no one's gonna buy it. But people liked it when it was free, like these are the things you go to the park for. It's just so
They
crazy to
they
me.
they
Their
they
business
they
model is fucked.
they did, but like I said, it's like they're making this focus on seems like on the films, and they're draining the parks and experiences and not putting as much money into it. So we'll see how that works out. Anita, you have this one,
Yeah,
Wild
yeah.
Man Beyond.
Wild Man Beyond. Thank you so much for the $1.99. Says you remember Kate? I loved it till the ending. Kate
Kate,
Bishop? Are we talking
Kate,
Kate Bishop?
I don't
are
yeah,
are you,
maybe.
are you
I
talking
don't know.
about Hawkeye?
I don't know. Wild Man Beyond. If you can just like tag
Yeah,
me
we need
that,
context.
yeah,
I
and
want to
just
leave
let
you
me know.
hanging with that. Yeah, Patrick Mulligan.
Yes, I keep
It's
leaving the page.
at 9:36. No problem.
All right, Patrick Mulligan for Canadian $5. Thank you so much, Patrick Mulligan, for the $5 Canadian super chat. Tom should only appear on the stream. Oh, I think
Oh, we did that
Oh
one.
yeah, we
we
did
did that
that one.
one.
We did that one. There we
But
go.
thank you, Patrick Mulligan. And we have another super chat from Wildman Beyond for $4.99. Thank you, Wildman Beyond. Very generous tonight. All this talk about female action heroes. What about Cynthia Rothrock? No one talks about her because they want to keep this first heroine woke narrative.
I need a refresher as to
Yeah,
who
I
she
have to
is.
look her up.
Something tells me I should know who she is. And when you guys tell me, I'm gonna feel real stupid.
I'm
No, don't feel.
I feel I don't know.
It's
I don't
one of
know who
those
she
names
is.
where I've heard it and I should know who this person. I probably know her face.
I don't know her at all. She's from like Yes Madam, Sworn to Justice, Tiger Claws. Let me share my screen so you can see what she
Let's
looks like. Because
see.
I think
Yeah.
that she's
Oh,
definitely like an old school action hero. You can tell. It's just like I don't know her at all personally.
Let's see.
There she is.
Yeah, let me see. See what she looks like.
Dude, she's got a topless pic. But it's okay because there's no depth, so it's fine.
didn't she make a lot of films in the 80s, especially?
Yeah.
I think that's okay. I'm looking at the 80s here. Okay. Then that's probably
Check
why.
this out. That's awesome.
That's really cool.
China O'Brien was the one that she is known for. China O'Brien, it was a big
okay.
deal. It was like there was
Okay.
It was a big martial arts film.
Okay. Yeah, I have not seen her.
She's actually in a documentary about martial arts on Netflix where they talk about famous martial artists, and she's actually featured in it.
That's really cool.
That's extremely cool.
Yeah, she's amazing. She's amazing.
She looks badass, man.
She really
That's
does.
awesome.
She really does. I'm gonna have to look up more about her eventually.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to look into her because this is what we're talking about. They've been around. Female badass heroes have been around forever, and like it's just like, oh, here's the first female whatever.
Yeah, you don't want to. You would think you'd want to check history first, but some people don't want to do the work. Morgan King, thank you so much for the member chat. I've been a member of the channel for 4 months.
Wow.
Says there are too many articles saying the first blank being the first character of whatever doesn't have the same weight anymore because it's used too much. Yes, and I would have to agree that one time there was, the first whatever, and there's still going to be firsts, but it used to be back in the day, it was, the person's achievements first, who happens to be the first of whatever. Now the selling point is, guess what? They're first whatever, and they might have done something, maybe,
That's exactly what I was trying to get at with that whole, the Muslim thing should be a second thing, not the first thing. Like, oh, this is a superhero who happens to be Muslim.
Yeah, it's like we'll get that inference. For some people, it's like, yeah, it's cool. This is, the first one, but the emphasis is on what their background, what they do, and the background is, is the icing on the cake. And that's kind of what I was trying to say. It's like,
I also think it's kind of funny because we have Mahershala Ali now, who's going to be Blade also, and he's Muslim, but are they going to make Blade Muslim? Like, I don't really know how that's going to work out.
If they stick with canon, his religion was never part of it.
No.
It was never part of it, but then again, they're making Blade PG-13, so
Oh god, that is gonna be a fucking shit show right there.
Yeah.
Oh my god,
and the person writing it too, but we ain't getting that.
How you gonna make Blade PG-13? How you even go do something like that?
You
so
don't.
ridiculous. No.
You don't.
Just don't even make it. Just don't even make it.
What are you doing? Nene, you have Mexican Iron Man for $10.
Mexican Iron Man, my favorite Iron Man, Mike. You want to fight, Mike? You want to fight? No, you don't. You send me $10 to say, okay, thank you so much. Says, okay, I have an idea on how we can resolve this diversity discussion.
Okay.
Let's make YouTube history. Ladies, please feel free to fight over which toxic femme gets to kiss Mexican Iron Man. Ready? Fight.
I can share.
I'm good with that.
Sharing is caring.
Yes.
We can all do it at the same time. We could kiss him at the same time.
Let's
it could be a 4-way kiss.
We'll pass him around.
2, 3. Let's blow him a kiss on the count of 3. Okay. 1, 2, 3.
There you go.
There you go. There you go, Mexican Iron Man. You got 3 kisses.
For you. Of course, he's probably passed out now.
He's gone. I have no idea.
Did I imagine that? Let's see.
Well, I'm sure he'll catch the replay to see that.
Let's see. It's kind of funny. I totally forgot who said that. Let's
Dark
see.
King,
I think we are down to.
Oh no, we didn't.
Is it Hillis Mallory for $2? Editorial.
Is it? I don't know.
Yeah,
I thought no, it's
10,
Valiant.
11 p.m. We did that one hashtag before. We did that one.
Oh. I don't know where we are now.
Let's see.
Because I just read the Mexican Iron Man one.
Okay, let's see. We're at 10, 11 p.m. I'm sorry.
10, 11. Okay.
I think this Valiant one is the next one. I might have missed it in the.
Okay.
That's a new one. Yeah, that's definitely a new one. But it's on stage right now, so go ahead for it.
Valiant Renegade for $20 super chat. Thank you so much for the generous super chat. You've been generous all night. Hey, ladies. Hope you are having a happy new year. Coming in late, but lurking and listening. The last 3 to 4 days of Disney news all got fit together today with this strategically leaked JPEG memo.
Dun, dun, dun.
I can't wait for
No,
the
sorry about
earnings
that.
all next month. That's gonna be a hoot.
Well, actually, I think that's about where we're at because I thought we were off, but then Joker voice here, we got that one before. We got it. So
Yep, we got that one.
this one.
Got that one.
Okay.
Should be after Valiant's hashtag listen to Cameron.
We got that one.
Should be Hillis Mallory for
Hillis
$2.
Mallory.
Got editorial changes.
Let's see here. Here's one where you guys are fighting.
That one.
We're making out, Tom.
Yeah.
Jello wrestling. Think about it.
Yeah, that's the only thing.
You just read this one.
Do it all.
In line.
Read that one. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Then listen to Cameron. We got that one.
That one.
There we go. Yep. Here we are. Okay.
And who's?
There we go.
I think it's yours, Lorena.
Okay, we have Hillis Mallory for $2. Thank you so very much, my dear. Editorial changes to Marvel Comics. Return to 616. We're talking about that. Okay.
Oh my
I've never
God.
read.
For a
I've never
second,
read 616, so I don't know.
haven't either. But for a second, I thought Hillis Mallory was making it like a Star Wars joke, and I was like, "Wait a minute, that's Order 66." Like,
Yes.
execute number 66, and I was like, "Oh, is he talking about like basically just executing everyone over there?" Okay, that's like, I feel you. I feel you.
Oh, this one's you're up, Nina.
Valiant, thank you so much for another $10. It says the park is being tested. As long as capacity holds, they will keep reducing costs. When they find the breaking point, they will stop. Galactic Star Cruiser was a huge first warning sign for them, I think. Oh, I mean, when you would have someone like Dave Portnoy go to the park and then be like, I didn't actually see where the fuck I was going, and I actually missed the entire Star Wars land. A problem. Like, you have a fucking problem, man.
Because it don't look like Star Wars. And to go back to the Galactic Star Cruiser thing, they're going to have to find that breakpoint very soon because Universal is building Epic Universe. And they're bringing in Nintendo Land.
Yes.
Is coming in there. But you're right. It's classic supplies, classic supply and demand. They're going to get to a point where they can no longer cut costs anymore and still manage to pack the parks, but they're gonna have to get their act together soon because Universal's coming after them. Let's see. I think this one's you.
Yes, deleted scenes for $5. Hello, Stephen from Deleted Scenes. Thank you for your generous $5 super chat. Maybe the political officer will slip on some spilled tea. Extra points for getting that reference.
I don't.
He means spilling the tea, maybe, I think, or
oh, sorry, deleted scenes. I'm totally like
the political officer. Do you mean the VP of diversity? Probably the same thing.
Mexican Iron Man's in the chat. He saw us making out with him.
Oh, and he lived. Okay,
he's still there. He's alive. He says, "Call 911. I'm passed out on the floor. I have a case of the vapors."
Oh, too funny.
Jesus Davila, thank you so
killing
much.
My other producer.
Wait, what?
What?
So don't you guys go killing my other producer.
Oh no, we'll put him back together.
Better.
I'm not promising anything.
I can't live without my Mexican Iron Man.
Jesus Davila, thank you so much for the $10. Says, hail to the beautiful ladies of Toxic Fam. Hi. Nina, in your free time, check out the music video for The Midnight Vampires. They use footage from Wicked City 1997. Okay, I will. Midnight Vampires. I will look that up.
Oh,
interesting. Let's see. Did we get through all of the super chats? Why do I feel like there's one? Ah, there we go. You want to get that one?
Yes. Okay. Hi, Wildman Beyond, for another $4.99 super chat. Thank you so much for your generosity. Yes, Cynthia Rothrock, the female Chuck Norris. She was mentioned on Cobra Kai season 4, and Kate is a Netflix movie. Right. I heard that Kate was a really good film, and Cynthia Rothrock is in that documentary about martial arts on Netflix, and she's mentioned there, and she talks about how she's, was one of the first women to kind of be doing martial arts at that time, I guess, and a woman from the Western world, let's say. who was doing martial arts at that time, and how that kind of changed everything for her. And she traveled all over the world and kind of made films internationally, and it changed her life. So she's an amazing martial artist, and her films from the 80s still hold up. So go ahead and check out. Yeah, go ahead and check out her films.
Kate looks cool. It's with Woody Harrelson. I'd never even heard of this movie before.
It was advertised on Netflix or one of those streaming services.
It's a Netflix. It's a Netflix movie.
I heard it was fantastic.
I have not seen this, and it looks freaking dope.
I'll have to put that on. No, God, I got everything. I got everything on the list.
Man, Netflix has been dropping some really interesting things lately. I've been like kind of like on a Netflix binge recently. I'm not even gonna lie. Like, have you heard or seen that new one, the new Korean sci-fi, Lorena?
All of Us Are Dead.
The Silent Sea.
No, I haven't seen that. I haven't seen that. Someone said something, but I'm waiting for another Korean horror series called All of Us Are Dead, and it's supposed to premiere at the end of this month. Zombies in a high school. Post-apocalyptic.
No, I'm not huge into zombies, but you will like this one that I told you about, the Silent Sea. It's really good. It's sci-fi.
I'll definitely put that on the list because I'm totally into that Korean horror thing.
And they make like, great female characters, Lorena. It's like, the female characters done right. Like
I tend to watch a lot of either it's Korean drama or Nigerian movies.
Yeah, I know. I still gotta watch some Nigerian movies, girl. I still gotta do.
You have to watch them. They're so much fun. They're so much fun. Let's see. There's the Phantom Boomer.
I like that name.
It's funny. Political officer / Phil T reference is through The Hunt for Red October. I'm embarrassed I didn't remember that because I loved The Hunt for Red October.
So did I am also embarrassed. Damn.
Daggone it. It's like stuff just
Sorry,
other things get pushed out. I think Squid Game pushed that out of my brain. I think that's what happened. Let's see. Nina, you can get this.
Hillis, Mallory, thank you so much for the $5. You're so generous. The 616 is the OG Marvel universe. I call the Marvel a new current line the 616 Prime. Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
Yeah, I told the ladies that in the background.
You did.
Yeah.
Thank
you. Plain Hillis, but thank you for the super chat.
Yes.
Yeah, it's
sometimes you got to do that, Hey,
we're
I have no freaking clue.
For mansplaining.
That's no problem. But we'll give you a pass. We'll give you a mansplaining pass.
Patrick Mulligan for $5 Canadian. Patrick Mulligan, thank you so much for your super chat. Calling Destiny a pedo sympathizer is like an SJW calling Cameron a white supremacist sympathizer. Dishonest name calling instead of honest engagement.
Is it true?
Hey, you got your opinion. I got mine. I got to talk to him. So
I just have a question. Is it true?
I don't know.
That's how he came across to me. He's making a lot of excuses for people like that.
I have no idea who you're even talking about, but
yeah,
I don't either.
Destiny is, no idea.
He's a YouTuber.
Okay.
Nina's like me. She's a bit of a shitster sometimes, so I'm just gonna sit back and go, okay.
That's why I asked. I said, "Is it true?" Because if it's true, then it's not dishonest name calling.
Hey, it was brought up. I feel it's accurate. I'm just addressing the super chat, and that's my feelings about it. I'm not trying to name call the guy or anything like that. That's how he came across to me. So just being honest.
I'm just being honest. Sorry, I had an Andre 3000.
No, I love that song.
Wow. Let's see. Are we caught up on super chats?
I think
we are.
We are caught up on
super my chats. Gosh. Wow.
I know. You guys are so amazingly generous with your super chats, generous with your chats, generous with your time. And we have like one last thing that I think is really good for us to go out on. And I cannot flip and believe this is in Forbes. So thanks actually to Tom as well for bringing this to my attention. Cannot believe this was in Forbes of all things.
It's a great fucking article. Yeah,
It was.
I mean, this is stuff that we've
great.
been saying for a while, but I think it's important that it's in Forbes. But anyway, I'm going to shove.
Like, yeah, it is. So I'm glad we're bringing this to my attention. Short read, but basically, fans aren't gatekeeping anything. They're just wary of would-be dictators trying to take over their hobbies. And this article was like an absolute breath of fresh air, because it's not like we're trying to stop people from coming into a certain fandom. That's not it. The thing that's irritating was you have people trying to come into the fandom and then change everything about it and then shame you because you're not about to stand for that.
Yeah, like Kathleen Kennedy.
Another thing I like about this, and then I really will shut off and let you ladies talk about it, is the fact that Ollie is actually kind of using the woke rhetoric against them by using terms like dictators.
Yeah, it's interesting. Look, I read this article, and this guy was literally talking about my life in the article, because I was one of the people who signed up for those anime clubs. I was one of the people who had to basically track down this one dude who had a somewhat illegal bootleg movie plays in his basement in another city that I had to drive to go and find anime that I wanted. And some, like, he would sell and rent either raw ones or bootleg ones that he would get through whatever means that he would get them. And it was, a bunch of dudes in a basement. And it was really funny because I would go down there and they'd be all like, weirded out, because it was like, oh my God, there's a girl in here. Because not a lot of girls would go. So I was bullied for my loving anime at the time when I loved anime, and I still love anime, but I'm just saying, I'm just one of the OG fans. So now what he's describing in this article is my life, because now it's become mainstream. Now it's popular. Now everybody loves it. And now, yes, it's going to have some people that are probably going to need to be kind of schooled about what it means to be an anime fan, because this is the kind of stuff we go through. And I think that, I personally, I'm kind of with Gary now at this point. I think gatekeeping has got a bad word, like it's got a bad rep. It's not necessarily a bad thing. I think if we had gate kept some of our IPs and stuff like that, maybe we wouldn't be in the mess that we are now. Like maybe if we had actually, cared and not given the reins to someone like, Kathleen Kennedy, if I don't know, if George Lucas had cared enough and gate kept his IP. Maybe we wouldn't be even in this mess. I don't know. I don't know what the right answer is, but I think there needs to be some level of gatekeeping. I'm not totally against all of it.
What are your thoughts before I give my opinion?
Yeah, I mean, everything's accessible to all now. And, that's why this is such a great time to be alive, because you do have such unlimited access. And, you can, at the worst case scenario, you can pull up something on your phone. Best case scenario, you can watch something in your home or go to a movie or an event and enjoy it. So I don't believe that there was ever really an issue of gatekeeping. I think that there was an issue with availability. Just a lot of these things were not marketed to, let's say the Americas.
It wasn't.
And so, yeah. And if you wanted anime, if you wanted, martial arts films, if you wanted anything from Europe, even, it was hard to get a lot of these things. And, we all had to deal with formats. You remember that nonsense, like it was
NTSC
region
and region 1, 2,
like,
the regionless DVD player.
Yeah, you have to go over there to watch it and then come back. Like there were all these kind of odd situations where, everything was kind of blocked from you seeing it. And that for me, it's more of just the industry deciding where they wanted to have certain markets distribute certain products. And so because of this, it was very difficult for anybody to really, get their hands on a lot of this stuff. And, it took 20 years for things to kind of turn around and be, have someone. Yeah. Thank you. Sander Hammerslag. Yeah. it was just, now they have regionless players, but of course, at the time, like when I remember I was a kid, it just wasn't anything, it would only play in certain areas. So what am I saying? What I'm saying is it's a different time, and someone has uploaded something to somewhere. But there's also the situation of the idea that it is true. It feels almost as if when you have a good story or a good IP or something that you're into, oftentimes there might be some sort of influence, corporate or whatever, that comes in and can destroy what you're watching. You no longer can play Dungeons and Dragons like normal anymore, or the characters that you used to love in a story have been killed off and they're no longer there and they don't even exist. Or even the origins of certain characters, like in Doctor Who would be the one that I think is the most dramatic one for me, where they completely changed the origin of the Doctor. And it's
God.
like you're talking about a show that's been on for what, almost 40 years.
Yes.
Long time.
It's like, come on, this was something that they screwed with. Just make another show. You don't have to do that. And so I think for that part, if anything, you can go ahead and buy stuff now. You can buy a series, but for a good portion of us when we were growing up, you couldn't go and buy this stuff. Like, you had to watch it on TV. You had to, get it, access to it. If a friend had it, if you had a friend who worked at a video store, wow, that person was really lucky because they had access to titles and previews and things. But things have changed so dramatically now. So I didn't feel any pressures of gatekeeping. I remember, now to add to Nina's experience, I remember that there used to be these martial arts films that were shown on television where I lived, and these guys would record them and sell them at my mall. Like, they would sell them at the mall on VHS.
Mm-hmm.
And they'd be like, hey, do you want to watch this martial arts film? Here, we have it. It's on VHS for you. And I was like, that's very enterprising of them. But I knew full well that they did not get a license to sell these films. These are films from 1970. They were not sort of like fresh releases, but they were, it was an enterprising venture where they were like, you could do it. And flea markets for a long time. There was a lot of bootleg things that you could buy, but there was no place to go to a store and get it. You wanted to buy it, but there was no place other than there to buy that stuff.
Yeah, and it's so funny now because, like, when people call me like a fake anime girl and stuff like that, which has been which has happened, I'm like, man, like, you guys don't know the half of the things that I've gone through to track down like anime. Like, the things that I've gone through is actually kind of crazy. Like, I could write a book about this stuff, about, like, the things that we did just to get the latest thing, just to be like, and that's what fans were about. Like, we were like, and the people who, like, for example, that basement that I went to with those guys, they welcomed me with open arms. They were like, you love anime? Like, you tracked us down, so you must, because I mean, like, it was just one of those things. They had mad respect for someone like me because we actually cared about it. We wanted to be part of it. And we weren't like these people that are just fake about it, right? Like, and now I feel like now it's a fad and everyone like.
And that's totally what it is. Not to cut you off, but Ali actually made a good point in this article where he's talking about it. It's not like people are stopping you from coming into a fandom. When you have genuine interest, people will go out of their way to like introduce you to things, answer questions. They generally want to share this fandom with other people.
Yes.
And back in the day, this kind of like what we would do. So and so's a new fan. It's like you get really happy there was somebody who's a new fan because you could share that info with them. I remember going to conventions where you don't really have a whole lot of money and you're trying to find the cheapest collectibles that you can get just to have a piece of something. Even back in the day when so-and-so got like the DVD box set because they actually had the money and you didn't. So guess what? You had a watch party in your room for like 2 or 3 freaking days. So everybody could get there and gather and just share the things that they love. But you get these fad fans, as Nina alluded to, where they're just there. It's like, it's hip, it's now. It's like, yeah, I just kind of want to be in it. I don't really care about what happened before. I don't care about the years of history and things
Yeah,
that have happened on the
they come
different
out and say stuff
shows.
like the best anime of all time is like Naruto, and you're like, really? Like, have you seen any other anime like ever?
Probably freaking not. Like, people are just like, oh, there's anime. The only one is like My Hero Academia. It's like, go back, go
Yeah.
way,
Just go
way
back.
back. I mean,
Back
these are
in
the
time.
people who, not for nothing, I love Loungefly bags. Are my favorite thing to get, like, pop culture and everything. But they kind of just want to wear the bags, or they just want to wear like the swag. They just want to go to Hot Topic and get the swag
Yeah.
and just say that they look cool. But they don't invest the time, the money, the love, the hunting down, the tapes, to find out. Because I had friends who liked anime, and I'm just like, well, how are you going to watch that, dude? Well, so and so got this, and it was a small, insular group at the time. But it's like, we put in the work to be fans.
Yeah.
We put in the work, and then you have people who want to come in and say, you know what, I like that shiny thing that you have, except I want to make it a new shiny thing. And if you don't like it, too bad, we're going to shame you for it, and then when you push back, oh, you're gatekeeping. No, we're more like quality checking.
Exactly. Thank you, Lorena. That's exactly what it is. Like, we're quality checking, and if more of that was done, I feel like we wouldn't have so many problems with these fandoms. I mean, look at what's happening with Lord of the Rings. We need a Gandalf that's like, you shall not fucking pass over here, man. Like, what's going on with Lord of the Rings on Amazon is going to be a fucking nightmare.
Is someone who is not a big fantasy fan. I'm not. I know of Lord of the Rings. When the movies came out, I was right there because I'm like, shoot, I don't have to read the freaking book. I can just sit here and watch the movies and just be immersed and just, and just love it.
Yeah.
And now they just want to just go
They're
and destroy it. But
it.
what I think it is you have some people who were generally just, they kind of played on the innocence of some of the fans in a way, like, you want to know about it just so you can enjoy it like we do. And it's like, no, we want to get our hands on it so we can exploit it, trash it, and then we're on to the next
And
thing.
actually, this is a really good segue, I think, into that whole Twitter thread that just came up recently.
Yeah. Let me grab that up.
So, this was really interesting too, because Lauren S. Hisrich, I think that's her name.
Yeah, Hisrich. Looks like
Hisrich. Yeah, she's basically the lead showrunner for The Witcher. I think she's one of the main writers of The Witcher, and she chose to respond to the quartering the other day, which I find very interesting. By the way, just having because usually I think that when they start responding to people on Twitter, it's because their show is irrelevant. Usually, there's something has happened and it's become an irrelevant thing. The numbers aren't doing well, or for whatever reason, I think Netflix has had a meeting with her and was like, hey man, Cobra Kai's killed your show or something. We don't know what's going on. But it's not being received well. So she's like, okay, let me see what they're talking about. Let me go on Twitter and check some of these comments. Comes across this post by The Quartering saying, Henry Cavill should have been on the screen more. We needed more Henry. And she comes out and responds with this. Actually, I'm the strong, independent woman you're looking to blame for your sadness, which is really, what the hell kind of response is this even supposed to mean? Like, why is she bringing this is so weird. It has nothing to do with sex. It has nothing to do with anything. It has to do with your inability to respect IP, to respect a character, to respect what's going on in The Witcher and what people love. And you come out and put something like this out, which is basically disrespecting a fan's opinion based on what they saw of your show, and they didn't agree with how you went about it. And of course, I replied to this. She didn't reply back, of course,
let me find it.
because I'm a woman, so she's not going to reply back to me, even though she's replied back to a whole bunch of dudes in there trying to validate her feelings or whatever. But she didn't reply back to me. So I just think this is a great example of someone who doesn't care about the IP, went ahead and became a showrunner of that IP, I don't even know if she's read the book. She claims she's read the book, but she's gone so far away from the books now that it doesn't even like it's
How
not
many
even.
people have we seen who they claim they read the books or they read the comics, and it turns out that they really freaking didn't?
No, and then did you see the critical drinkers response to her? I mean, that was epic
Oh
too.
no, where's that? Because I
That
love
one I think
Drinker.
you gotta go to his thing because he quote tweeted her. Let me
Oh,
see if
okay.
I can bring
Okay.
that
Yeah,
up real quick.
see if you can find
Because
find that out.
he basically brought up the fact that like one of the main problems of the show was that like in the second season she
Mhm.
killed off Roach, like which is Henry Cavill's with the Witcher's horse.
Mhm.
And at the time, she wanted it to be like a comical thing or whatever. And it wasn't a comical thing. And apparently Henry Cavill refused to make it a comical thing.
Mhm.
And so she went to him and she was like, you know what, you know the IP, why don't you write something? And we'll go with that. We'll go with whatever you want. And it turned out to be basically the best, most emotional part of season 2, that scene with Henry saying goodbye to his horse who had just died.
Mhm.
This is the critical drinker's response to her. You're also the person who wanted to throw a cheap joke into the Roach death scene, and it was only Henry Cavill who persuaded you, a professional writer. What a terrible idea that was. I don't think you have a whole lot to boast about right now. And this is the proof, kind of like the receipt saying Hissrich admits that when she first wrote the Roach death scene, her instinct was to puncture the moment with a bit of meta comedy. Henry Cavill pushed for a more heartfelt moment, and eventually Hissrich caved, which she says was ultimately the right call. Hell yeah, it was the right call because Henry knows the IP. He cares about the IP. And that's what I told her. I'm like, you know what? You might as well just have him in the writing room because for season 3, you really need to get your shit together, lady.
You know, even IP aside, granted, I'm not a fantasy person, but I've seen enough westerns to know that a man and his horse or a woman and his horse, the death of a horse is never something to be taken lightly. Even when
Nope.
like the horse is injured and it's suffering and they know that they're going to have to kill it and it's never anything to laugh about because that's what they depend on. They bond with that animal,
Yeah.
and that bond is something special throughout the story. So how she thought that was going to be something funny
It's
is
crazy. Like Loretta, you're so right about the horse thing because I'll tell you this. I played Red Dead Redemption 2, and I'm so sorry for anyone who hasn't played this game, but spoiler alert, at one point your horse dies. And I literally cried. Like, because I was like, because I've spent hours, just hours, like riding around in this horse, and I loved my horse, and I would clean it and I do all this stuff, and then he dies, and I was like crying because I was like,
I wish I had
horse
a
is
time to
dead.
game like this. 'Cause
I miss
Why did I
gaming.
kill my horse? I was so sad. I literally cried.
Exactly, Robert Swisher be like making a
Yeah.
joke at the end of Old
Yes,
Yeller.
thank you. You can't do that. No, you can't do that.
God, that's like writing freaking 101.
Yeah, and this lady, and then see, this is what I'm talking about.
Freaking damn it.
If you gatekeep a little bit and you keep out like these weirdos that don't really understand the IP, maybe The Witcher would be a better show. I'm just saying. Maybe someone who's actually cares about the IP, like Henry Cavill, that would want to write the show. Maybe find someone who actually cares.
Exactly. Any last thoughts?
Yeah, I have to say that The Witcher is not that kind of a show where jokes should be inserted at random. Like it's not that kind of a story. It's kind of got a serious nature to it, and even if they do make a joke, like I'm like, this is some serious stuff. You can't joke around about things dying or people's situations being bad. It doesn't have that kind of feeling to it. So I think it's completely disgenuine and goes against the feeling of the show, at least from what they've presented over the past season or so. It certainly is not the kind where you're going to be cracking jokes and, it just doesn't make any sense. It's weird.
I will. Can I respond to one thing in the chat because Snail
Sure.
Messiah says, Geralt calls Roach Roach because he doesn't want emotional attachment to it. So all his horses are called Roach. So his horses die from time to time due to his profession. That is very true. That is 100% true. But at the same time, he does form an emotional bond with every one of those horses. That's the thing. Because they are his only companion. So whenever they die, he does become upset because they are his only companion. He has no other friends. He doesn't have any Witcher friends that he's going around, Witcher friendsing with, like it's just not happening. That's his companion. It takes him from place to place. So he does get upset when they die. It's just natural, and he does have emotions. Like that is the whole point of The Witcher.
Makes sense.
So,
Well, folks, we have a couple more super chats to wind out the night. So let's see. We have Wild Man Beyond for $4.99. Thank you so very much for that. Says, don't forget Cagney and Lacey. Oh God, yeah, they were awesome. Badass lady cops aren't nothing new. And speaking of Cobra Kai, Martin Kove was on that show.
I freaking love Cobra Kai. Can I just say again, like how much I
good.
appreciate this show? I can't get enough of it.
Rewatching it. I keep putting it on and like rewatching the episodes over and over again.
I just want to rewatch it too, because at this point it's just like I feel like I need more Cobra Kai in my life.
I even got Cobra Kai socks.
Aww.
Oh.
Oh, okay. Let me ask you guys this: since we've all seen the show, what dojo would you be a part of if you were part of the dojo?
Cobra Kai.
Eagle Fang.
Shoot. What would it be? Yeah, I'd be totally Cobra Kai.
I love the Miyagi, but I would so be Eagle Fang.
I would be Miyagi Fang. Like I like the both.
Miyagi Fang.
That's the name I put together
that's a good one too.
Nina, I'm like, when they combine, that's what they should call themselves.
Yeah,
that I said that from episode 1. I was like, why don't they just combine it and call it Miyagi Fang and like just do like co-teach? Like I don't understand why. And then in the end, he was like, let's call it Miyagi Fang, and I screamed. I was like,
call it Cobra Kai Karate with 2 Ks, so that would be a KKK. That's not a very good idea. No, you're right. That's
no, I freaking love Cobra Kai.
I love Cobra Kai so much. But yes, I would definitely be like, a combination, because I have that, Zen, but I also like want to fight, and I think the combination is good.
I need an outlet, so we going hard.
Cobra Kai.
me and Corey gonna spar. I like that.
All right.
Let's see, Nina. This one is you.
Okay. Wild Man Beyond, thank you so much for the $4.99. Says, with Cobra Kai, I believe martial arts is making a coming. Back. I think you meant come back. Yeah. It's coming. All right.
And you have Mr. Pelzig for $5.
Hey, phrasing.
Daggone it! I was trying to get around.
I know I was late.
That's what she said. It's never good when a girl is late, by the way.
Mr. Pelzig for $5. Thank you so much for your $5 super chat, Mr. Pelzig. Back in my day, it was all about VHS tape trading.
Yeah,
you were excited to get a worn out 4th or 5th generation copy of a copy. And I'm definitely guilty of recording stuff off of the TV using VHS tape.
Yeah. I do that all the time. Some of the funniest stuff is when you would record over somebody's tape, and then they would turn out to be like a porn of them or something, or like it was like a sex tape, or it was some like random thing they had done, and then you'd like find out in the end of it, and you were like, "Holy shit, that is not what I wanted to see." But
not what I wanted. Hillis Mallory for $5. Thank you so very much. This whole show makes me want to watch Big Trouble in Little China again. It's all in the reflexes. I love that movie.
I need to rewatch that. It's been so long.
I love that freaking movie. It's so cheesy. I freaking love it. Let's see. I think with that, we are caught up.
Are we caught up? That's it. Oh my gosh. Yay. Thank you guys.
We are.
Thank you so much for everybody for your generosity.
Yes.
Thank
Mhm.
you.
Yes, for being here. We say, yeah, we did kinda-
Ladies.
we did say
Yes,
that.
we
We did
are.
say that, and I meant it.
I'm fine with
I meant it. I
it.
meant it.
Better than going
Every
in
word.
soft.
Hey, phrasing.
Scott, she's right.
He has a point. A point. Well, Nina, this one's for you. So you
Yeah,
go
I
for
think
that
this
one.
one's for me. Patrick Mulligan, thank you so much for the $5. Says, Nina, I respect your right of a difference of opinion. As a fellow Canuck, I hope you take after fellow Canuck Lauren Southern. See you on the Real BBC. I like Lauren Southern, and she's very, very lovely lady, and I think that I like her critical thinking, and I'd like to critically think, but there's some lines I just cannot cross. But thank you for understanding, and I appreciate you, and
There you go.
humbly respect your opinion as well. Thank you.
There you go. Very good. Very good. Okay.
How dare you?
See, Canadians, we're really nice to each other. We get along. That's okay.
Unless you're from Quebec. I've seen y'all go.
Oh
off.
yeah, that's true. We get.
Come on now.
Hey, we're a Canuck. We're Canucks. Canucks get along. It's okay. It's okay.
What?
I love it. I love it. I love it.
What do we got left here? We done, kids?
Yeah, we're
I think
done.
we are-
All right, let's
It's
go
a
around
wrap.
the bend. Why don't you tell the folks a little bit about yourself, where they can find you, all that good business?
Yes, you can find me on my own channel, Positive Fandom, here on YouTube, where I cover all different IP things and things we love about the fandom. And you can also find me here on Monday nights, streaming with Lorena and Nina and whoever else joins us on Toxic Femmes on Monday nights at 8. You can also find me on Thursday nights on the 1/6 Scale Man Network on the show Uncivilized Scoundrels, where we talk about Star Wars. On Friday afternoons, you can sometimes find me on Midnight's Edge in the morning, streaming with Tom and Andre at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And at 3 a.m. in the morning, Eastern Standard Time on Fridays, you can find me on Midnight Metal on the Burn Network.
I don't know how you do it, girl.
Shout out to Kevin Street in the chat.
Why would Kevin see? Oh yeah. Especially the
love it.
Quebecers coming down here to Florida and driving on the side of this, on the shoulder, and the ones from Ontario are like, goodness, stop embarrassing us.
I just love it. I just
We're
love it.
sorry. We're sorry about Quebec. We're sorry about
Sorry.
everything, eh?
We're sorry about
We're
everything.
sorry.
It's true.
We take it back, eh? If we could, we would.
Oh my God.
How about a beer? Will that help make up for it? Out of the bats?
Hey, you know what, Tom? Have you ever seen you guys want a good Canadian show that's freaking hilarious? Corner Gas.
I'm aware of it, but I've never seen it. Yeah.
Oh,
I have not
Tom,
seen that.
you guys got to check out Corner Gas.
I will.
It's a Canadian national treasure. I will tell you
that
this.
out. Indeed.
I'm gonna turn over a
Is,
new maple leaf, like a turn over a new leaf. Yes. Eh?
I'm sure all my Canadians in the chat who've seen that show can give me a holler about it.
What were you saying, Arun?
No, I was curious as to who starred in Corner Gas.
Brent Butt is the maker of the show, and he stars in the show, and it's got a whole cast of basically Canadian actors that are exceptional comedians, and you even get celebrity stars in there, like Canadian celebrity stars. Prime ministers have starred in there. It's crazy. It's a cool show.
It looks cool. I'm definitely going to check it out.
John Yak says Corner
Alrighty.
Gas sucked. You suck.
And then we have the lovely Nina Infinity as well. What you got going on?
I got the Real BBC tomorrow on Nerdrotic channel, so you can come check me out on there. And then on what day is it? That's Tuesday. Okay. I'm not sure if I'm doing my Wednesday show, but Friday, good news. It's always good news Friday on my channel. So if you're sick of this crazy clown world, come and hang out with me for Infinite Hope, and let's get some positive news. Thank you so much, you guys. Toxic Femmes, always awesome. Thank you for having me.
Yes.
Awesome. And of course, don't forget about Cameron's Patreon. And last but definitely not least, the lady I could not do this without, Miss Lorena Creole. Tell them a little bit about what you got going on. I'm sure you got a ton of stuff coming up.
Oh, good. Yeah, whole lot of stuff as usual. Always glad to be here with you, ladies, and Tom on Toxic Femme. Tomorrow at 5 p.m., the After School Special Show is on my channel, which I co-host with Fat Steven Seagal. Our guest will be none other than Cameron Pasha, and we are going to be talking. Is it really woke, or is it just crap entertainment? So we're going to be talking about that and other things that come up. So please do come and check that out. Wednesday at 8:30 p.m. Eastern, the Dark Council will be on Fatal J's channel. So please do come and check that out, because Fatal's going to be hosting the Dark Council. Come out, have a good time. A little bit of fun, a little bit of laughs, and some talking about pop culture as well. Let's see, Thursday, I don't think I'm actually doing anything, which is really rare. Friday, of course, is the Lunch Table Show on my channel at 12 noon. Loki of Loki's Mornings of Mischief is going to be my guest. And on Saturday, I'm going to be live streaming from Epcot. It is the opening weekend of the Festival of the Arts. So you're going to see a whole lot of artists, cool things,
That's gonna be
collectibles.
cool.
I'm very excited. They've got art stuff, they've got culinary food stuff, and it's gonna be fun. And maybe I'll get to
have a treat
go
for
to
me,
my
Lorena.
Sideliner. Yes, I have to have a small treat because my trainer will probably be like smacking out of my hand. Don't eat that. Don't eat that. Don't eat that.
And you call it
also
something special. You say it's a something kind of treat. It's a
protein treat. I don't know.
It starts with a U. Like an not uncivilized treat, but a unforgivable treat. You know, the high calorie.
Oh, I call it disrespectful.
Disrespectful.
I call it on my channel.
I like it.
Disrespectful treats. Just goodness. They all seem to find me. And another interesting thing, I can't believe I have time to do this, but you can actually find me on Twitch from time to time. Trying to do watch parties, doing a couple of technical tests, so you can follow me and laugh at all my antics, especially when I start gaming, and you can see me die a whole lot.
Nice. Boomerang. Great.
No, dying a lot. I work in IT, so it's not boomerang.
No, like boomerang in the game, so that you're dying because you're boomerang it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah. We call it fat finger, but I'll
that too.
I'll hang with the lexicon. That's pretty cool.
And I think we got another super chat, by the way. From,
Did we? Someone snuck one in there?
Yeah, Patrick Mulligan for 2. He wants to clarify something about
Patrick
Canadians.
Mulligan.
For Toonie.
Yes, a Toonie. I actually have one of those in my phone.
How does everyone define woke? Canuck no Quebecois.
I like the distinction that you made there.
How does everyone define woke?
I don't know about everyone else, but for me, woke is basically just the awareness of injustice, and that's what its original intent was.
That was my understanding of it until it's like just become this weird,
it's become hijacked.
Yeah, this hijacked like fucking weird thing where
everybody uses it. We're woke. Check out our film. We're woke. I don't know. We're just woke. We're just putting this stuff out there and checking all the boxes. And
exactly. Now it's just like, oh, we got black people in our movie. We're woke. We got brown people in our movie. We're woke. We got Asians. We got this. We got this.
The act of virtue signaling and using minimalized group to do so, and or trying to use said groups for some kind of shield as well.
Yeah, same thing with intersectional feminism.
Exactly. Like, all that business. Like, yeah, if it's an insincere injection of it just to be either like I just said, to either play like, oh, look at this, or we're virtue signaling, or to play a victim of some kind. Oh, you don't like it just because you're a bigot or a racist or whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
I agree with all of the above, but I add on plus the story is shit. So,
yeah.
It's like,
it's at the expense of
that was the Trump thing.
That
if there was a decent story with it, like an art film where they purposefully do stuff like this, and you're like, oh, it's an art film, they're going to be talking about, women and women in America or women in Great Britain in a contextual way, and you're like, oh, I get this. This is like the artist's interpretation.
Like Harvey Milk story or something like that.
Yeah, they put something. It's a meaningful story.
Exactly.
And you're like, gee, I may not agree with it, but at least it's like okay to watch. But when they do this half-assed operation of, you got the paper and they're checking off all the marks and everything's in it, and then they push it through, and it's like there's no substance to it. It doesn't evoke any emotion, no feeling, nothing. There's no story behind it. You're like, what did I just watch? I just wasted my time watching something that really doesn't have any meaning, because you have to have a good story. It can't be a story that has no meaning to it. It's not good enough just to throw stuff together, where
a perfect example is a Captain America and the Woke Soldier. I'm telling you, that's like the perfect example of the wokest woke shit.
Don't get me started on that one.
Well, for me, since it was so similar to the comics and I was already familiar with that story about the previous Captain America, I liked it. So, it didn't feel woke to me because I know that story, and it was based on an actual, he used it inspired by true events. So for me, I really like that part. And like I said, that character, he should have gotten the award for best actor.
Was the main thing, though, but which they didn't focus on. And that's why it was terrible. That's why it was terrible woke and not the good kind of woke.
Yeah, exactly. And actually, Hillis Mallory, no, the Song of the South is not woke. The Song of the South is what it is.
Well, woke is a modern thing. Let's not confuse like progressiveness or inclusiveness necessarily with woke. Right. Like, I think this cartoon here on screen kind of explains woke, in my opinion, the best. Like, I've made more of the thing you like. Everybody's like, yay, I love Thing. I can't wait for Thing. Woohoo! And then this other person over here is like, I do not like the Thing.
Oh, yes.
You are a bad person if you do not address the fact that I do not like the Thing.
And that's why I think of that as just like a bastardization.
Yeah, so then the guy's like, okay, I made changes to the Thing.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I never cared.
Like, that's no longer the thing we wanted.
I don't want
I'm looking for a different thing.
I'm out.
So then you turn to the guy and like, well, will you buy the Thing? I never really liked the Thing in the first goddamn place. That's woke right there.
That's woke.
Right there. That's a great example of it. Yeah.
And when it's no longer the thing that you wanted, even if it doesn't, like if there's no story there, and the reason why it's not what you want anymore is because the story that you liked is gone. It's disappeared. They're just plugging in there. It's like under the guise of something. Like, for example, it's like the hotel in Walt Disney World. It's under the guise it's going to be like Star Wars. But when you get there, there's nothing there that looks like Star Wars to you. But they're calling it that. It's not good enough just to call something by that name. It has to have certain elements that you recognize as being what it's being purported to be. But now,
one last thing on that woke thing before we wrap that up.
Yes.
I love the line in Cobra Kai where they were talking about the woke thing. And he's like, I'm awake. And he's like, the word is woke. The word is woke.
Yeah.
He was like, and then he kind of was joking about it, right? I guess he's like, oh, he's just such a jokester,
But it was so funny because he didn't care about any of it. He had just memorized it so he can talk to that lady. And then he's like, oh, I had to memorize all this feminist bullshit for nothing.
I was totally impressed when he spewed out all that shit, because I don't even remember all that. He was like, we are focusing on it. And I'm like, wow, Miguel is training him well to say this spiel.
God, that was so good.
It was, but it just proves the point where it's just like woke is just, hey, I do this, and it's a bunch of crap. It's like, well, that's not really what woke means, but that's what you decided to bastardize and use it as.
I guess are in that age category who are not on social media. Like, it's I've got a ton of friends like this, and I'm like, oh yes, okay. We acknowledge they exist.
My husband is like that. He's not on social media, and he doesn't understand half the shit I say. And I'm like, look at this TikTok video of this like person telling you what gender they are, and he's like, just stop it. Like, I don't want to know this.
Shut that crap up.
But I think that, like I said, at least for me, I think it says a lot when someone is going ahead and wants to make these points. You want to make a point, and I get that, but go ahead and put in that artistic story. Go ahead and create something that's unique, that's incredible, to do that. Because
Mhm.
when they try to like even make a point, it's like, well, it's not really based on anything. You're just kind of shouting out how unfair things are. And we get that, but it's not entertaining. It's not entertaining. We
Yep.
understand. Yes, we understand that it's unfair and everything, but this is supposed to be something that's entertaining. So you need to have that extra thing there. You can still hate it, but it should still be there. So it's an
Mhm.
actual form of entertainment, or else it's really
Yeah.
nothing
You
else.
need
Well,
to
it
stick
reminds-
the landing.
Yeah, well, it reminds me of former Weinstein assistant Leslie Headland when she went out there and said, "Oh, in this Star Wars, I want the black perspective. I want a black writer and a black director." It's like, look, lady, I know at least a half a dozen black writers right now who have dozens of scripts from the black perspective that want to tell a black story, but that's not Star Wars, right? Like, you can do that. Go do that over there. Like, this is about aliens and laser swords.
Yeah. Yes.
Yes. Who do we have here? So we have DJ the question for $5.
Hold on,
Thank
hold on.
you.
I'm the president, and I have one final thing to say about this woke garbage. Everything woke turns to shit. That's all. Thank you.
You're welcome.
We did roast better in the 80s. We were the best at it. The best.
He's the best ever.
Who's
DJ
the
the
best
question
ever?
for $5
Amazing.
says performative allyship is what it's called. And yes, so many are doing it. Yeah, I know all about that. Don't get me started on the corporate nonsense. I don't want to deal with that, but yeah. It's
Well,
something
now that
else.
we've still managed to drag the show out to 3 hours.
Yep.
Thought we were
Thank
doing
you
pretty
guys.
good there.
But we missed you guys. That's
We
We
did.
surely
We
did. So we had
It's
to
been a
kind
while.
of make up
It
for
has.
that. Yeah, to catch up. So
Yes.
thank you guys so much for joining us.
Thank you,
Yes,
everybody.
we appreciate it so very much. Thank you for the support over the year. We're glad to be back in the new year. We've got a lot of fun stuff coming up for you. We'll have an update on the pinup book and all that stuff coming up soon as we try to get caught up with everything here. But thank you again, everybody, for being here. Take care of yourselves and each other. Thanks again, ladies, for such a great show. Thanks again to the mods and everybody in the chat. Thank you so much again. Take care of yourselves. Good night.